That's how they end it? That's how they end it? Why?
What else do you want?
Why
Huh?
would... Nick, you know, I have to wait years for this. I can't play League of Legends. You can't make me.
It's probably.
I'm not going to learn the lore. I want to... Give me Arcane Season 2 right now, I swear. Please.
So what'd you think?
It was 8 out of
10. 6 out of 10.
Oh,
Not really.
Man,
Really.
it's been a while again because we kind of wait in between these. So,
Well, we also had arguably one of the biggest holidays of the year in between. Holiday seasons.
No excuses for the grind. I must always watch Arcane. I gotta I use.
I can't
Arcane
let my boy
for
Victor
practice.
down.
Yeah,
He's always on that grind. I gotta stay on that grind.
my role model.
My baby boy.
Man, Act 3 was wild, for sure. Except for episode 7.
Crazy.
I think it was really solid. I was really wrong on my predictions, if we want to go into that.
Yeah, what'd you predict?
I said war. We keep getting blue balls, and I think maybe we finally get war in season 2, but it did not happen here.
Season 2, I have a feeling. I think we'll go a little bit more into this, but I have a feeling season 2 will turn into a Piltover power struggle of who now runs Piltover.
Oh, okay.
I think
So
it's going to be like all the houses will like fight to recreate the council or something like that. But
I think that'll be the same for Zaun, which is the Undercity too. But that's for other reasons. I said Heimerdinger does nothing. What?
You were right. Heimerdinger did nothing.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
saw Echo and they talked.
He did more than not exist, which is what I was planning on. I'm like, I think Heimerdinger is just going to be out of the story. He's going to cry, be a little baby. But now it's like implied that him and Echo are going to do something, and that was way more than I was thinking was going to happen.
I hope they make like the time tech that Echo's known for, because I kind of want to see Echo with that technology in the in season 2.
Yeah. A lot of the other stuff was just like very semantic stuff about like how does Vi get the gauntlets or whatever, and she does, but it wasn't Caitlyn sneaking in and stealing them. It was like she went behind everyone's back and worked with Jace, which I was not expecting. I thought he was going to be like a militant, like stop being up here kind of guy.
Stop! You are violating the wall.
Straight up, just like, hey, jail time. And that didn't happen.
Hey, you're not supposed to be here. This is actually kind of awkward for me, but
Victor, semi-villain, which he wasn't. He did become a cyborg man. I got that.
a hex boy.
And then Jinx goes to the bridge and bombs it. I got that, but I think that was kind of obvious from the... It happened in episode 7 and was set up in episode 6, so I was hoping I wouldn't get that one wrong. Just a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you lived up to that. I'm glad it lived up to you. I don't know.
No predictions that were interesting this time, pretty much. Just trying to get through them quickly. Yeah. But that was basically it.
Yeah, well, I guess at the end we'll talk about our predictions for season 2, which
I have none.
I guess I can finally participate in. It'll probably mostly be me because I know like Piltover lore and shit.
You're gonna be like,
yeah,
listen, I read the dialogue boxes on Doran's ring. I know what's gonna happen. I played
the Sentinels of Light event. Thank God that's not canon.
Oh, that'd be so funny if it was. Because that's like the magical girl
one, right? They changed some voice lines. What'd you say?
That's like the magical girl one, right?
No, it's something completely. It's ass. It's the it's Viego, the Ruined King. But anyways, Arcane.
Not
here to talk about that train wreck. We're here to talk about a good show. Oh shit! I dropped my pencil.
Speaking of good show, episode 7. It's not. It's kind of boring.
Yeah, we start with a rap song. And it's there.
It reveals
it's kind of cool.
Echo before we get Echo revealed in the show. Like I knew it was gonna be Echo because I just kind of got spoiled a little bit on it. But
Well, yeah, because there was the whole like Echo on the Bridge thing that I had to show for you, and I think that's why episode 7 was so underwhelming for you because it wasn't your first time seeing that scene, and it might have been a lot more impactful if it was your first time.
and that was the only scene in the episode that wasn't just standing around for setup, pretty much, because there wasn't really like a ton
Yeah.
of interesting directing in this one. It was a lot of just straight shots of like people saying, "I don't want to go to war. We must do something. Let's plan
We
something."
must do something, but I don't know. War's a little hasty, but we got to do something. But maybe not this.
And like I don't mind setup, but they didn't make the setup interesting in any way to me compared to what they've done before. And it just
I
like
think each episode should have like some setup, but also some payoff too. Like there was just almost no payoff. The whole Echo thing was the entirety. Echo Jinx thing was the entirety of payoff for this episode.
it should just be like you have your build up also be like have your payoff built into it. So it's like, not even necessarily like you have a setup scene and a payoff scene, but just that things are happening. They can be both a setup and a payoff moment. That's not like
Well, you could
impossible.
pay off for something previously set up while setting up for something just completely unrelated.
Yeah.
Like you can have there's a bunch of different plot lines, so setups and payoffs can happen at different times. And just unrelated to each other. And this one just decided every scene, like every plot line pretty much consisted of setup.
Yeah.
Just like all parallel to each other. We're just setting up to episodes 8 and 9.
Yep. You want to go like scene by scene?
Yeah. Before we do that, I just want to mention I think this rap song would have made much better promotional material than actually in the show itself because it's kind of just there and doesn't really do anything for the show. It's cool, but I think it would have been cool if they had this promotional stuff where they like show off all the factions in Arcane. Maybe show off the Kim Barons, maybe show like the Fireflies, Firelights, Vi and Caitlyn, Jinx and Silco and crew. Just have like promotional things, and I think that would have been cooler. This kind of just felt like leftover footage that they kind of threw in.
Yeah.
Not leftover, but it's like
not
they made
leftover
something.
at all. I disagree with that. I felt out of place for sure.
Yeah, it just didn't fit in. It felt like it's like
Well, because we left on like a cliffhanger of like, yeah, Vi and Caitlyn got kidnapped by someone, and then it's just like, yeah, me and my boys, we're hanging out, dude, for like a minute, and then it's like, yep, they're captured still.
it kind of helped like present the mood for the Firelights, I guess.
Yeah, but
But we kind of knew that they were anti-enforcer, anti-Silco. Like we kind of knew this stuff going in, and that's basically the majority of the music video is like, yeah, we're tough and we hate the enforcers.
I just don't like things presented via music video in my shows typically. Like,
yeah, that's why I like it stuff like that in promotional like side content.
the Echo fight was fine and it was good. It had like the music video song and it was like a fight, but it didn't feel like a music video, right? This was, if you haven't seen it, which I don't know how you made it this far and have not seen any of Arcane listening to this, but it basically looks like it's stylized like a music video. It's completely separate from like the show in its entirety. It's not like, it's hard to explain, but yeah, it's very much like its own thing, and then we cut back to the show is what it feels like, rather than like,
yeah, it's like something you take out of context and send to a friend to get them to watch the show, which is kind of exactly what I did to you.
you didn't send me this.
Well, not the rap song. I meant the Echo fight.
What if you're like, hey, I got this really cool show you want to see, it's called Arcane, and you just
Hey,
send
this
me a
rap
rap
song.
video. I'm like, this is a music video. Where's the show, Nick? Just like, yeah, maybe it's
Maybe.
maybe you'll find it.
Yeah.
Enough
Anyways,
about that.
then
Jeez.
we go to Caitlyn and Vi are tied up, and Caitlyn thinks it's Silco. Vi says, no, it's not Silco. We'd be dead. And they have this back and forth where Vi doesn't trust Caitlyn, and she asks what she really is doing in the Undercity, and whatever the glowing stone was, because Vi has no clue about the hex tech gemstones.
Yeah.
No answers. And then Vi is taken to see the leader of the Firelights, and we'll learn it's Echo. Whoa! Who'd have guessed that?
He's in the show again. Oh,
Not
that's
you.
crazy.
You would never have guessed.
Whoa.
There was something to do with this scene. It's with the facial. Well, just all the movement in general in this scene is super over exaggerated, and it felt really off putting to me, especially the facial animation.
I didn't mind at all. Didn't notice that. So I don't really know how to discuss that.
I remember I'm like, wow, they're like really exaggerating a lot of movements. And I think that the facial movements, I feel like, was to make up for Caitlyn or for Vi being tied up, so that she can't express her body language super well when tied up. That's the only thing I can think of, but it felt super exaggerated to me, at least.
Yeah,
not that big a deal. Again, I forgot to mention this. Whenever I go into these kind of complaints, none of these are ever really deal breakers for the show for me, and I want to mention how I talked a lot about Caitlyn in the previous act. I don't hate the character, and like all of these little things I have to get super nitpicky about, because there is so little to get nitpicky about in this show. This show is done so well that when I get into the nitty and gritty, it sounds like I really hate something, but that's just me like scrounging for scraps to like complain about, really, I guess.
Well, I mean, I just like Caitlyn because she's hot, so.
Well, that's fair. But when I was talking about how like it didn't feel like she had a motive. That's a small nitpick. Overall, I like all of the characters.
Completely disagree with you still on that. Where it's like I felt it all tied in, but I don't want to talk about it again.
To death.
I just, yeah.
We'll agree to disagree.
I have thought about it for like
Still
3 weeks. As I was opening my Christmas presents, I was like, man, I sure do like Caitlyn. She's a really cool character. Can't wait to go talk to Nick about it in 3 weeks and tell him how wrong he is about everything. It's just manifest in my mind.
I'm fine being wrong. I'll be on the other side of history, it looks like. Anyways, Vi breaks free and hugs him. Then we cut to Singed studying Victor's notes.
Oh, I do like how Echo's just like, how'd you do that? And she's like, I don't know, just whenever you started talking, I just did it.
Yeah, when did you do that? And she's like, when did you start complaining? Cut to Singed studying Victor's notes, and they're talking about how he needs to make the reason that nothing is surviving his experimentations is because things like biology is resistant to change, and that he needs to take more drastic measures in order to make the experiment work. And he sees straight through it that he's experimenting on himself. So he gives him something that will allow him to survive experimentation.
Yeah.
Which is a variant of the shimmer that he made.
We do learn also that Singed used to work for Heimerdinger, or with Heimerdinger at some point. I have that written down. I don't remember that at all because we watched this yesterday. And we're doing this today.
That's supposed to be it's like a not a throwaway line, but it's just a one line. Like, we don't delve into it. He just mentions it.
Yeah, and I mean, I have no idea what the implications would be, because it's just like these are two polar opposite characters, and so far I really don't care about either of them that much. Singed a little bit more than Heimerdinger, but it's still like these are just two nobodies, and he's like, I used to work with this man. Like, oh, that's so crazy.
It probably has more impact if you're actually like a fan of the game. I was like, oh, that's neat, but
is there?
Yeah, they don't do a whole lot.
Is there like an ability where it's like Singed E is call Heimerdinger or something, and it's like that's the lore?
No, his E is he flips people over his shoulder. Oh, not a lie. He just flips people.
Great.
He just flings. I think it's called fling. He just throws people behind him.
Why? Isn't he a doctor?
Yeah, but his whole stuff is alchemy. Not alchemy, potions.
I would consider flipping someone over your shoulder more like pro wrestling than alchemy, but you do you.
Look, I didn't make the character, all right?
I mean, I think he needs a redesign, honestly. After Dr. Mundo. That's all I know. That's the last character.
When are we going to see Dr. Mundo? He's from Zon.
I really want. He's funny. I want to see Hand Mundo, because there was a redesign of him that you showed me, like a concept art where it's like he could have been redesigned into just being a hand with like a face on it. That's just a giant hand. It's so funny. I don't know if you have to put that up or not. It is literally the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Oh no, I put it up already.
Oh, cool. Thank you, Nick.
Look at him. There he is.
He's so beautiful. I love him.
All right, and that's pretty much it for the Singed and Victor scene. And then we cut to Jace and his forge, and I have written down in my notes, "Holy shit, he's hot."
Yeah, I have Jace still fucks written in the notes.
That's good. He does.
Absolutely.
Canonically, Jace fucks.
He is chiseled from working in the forge.
Yeah, and then Mel walks in on him. He shows her the grenade that Marcus said was from the firelights, but it's actually from Jinx. And Jace mentions that he's surprised what the Undercity is capable of. He talks about the weapons, the grenade, and just everything that they're capable of, and how organized they can be at times too.
It's almost as if they have a head honcho.
Almost. If only we knew who that was.
Oh,
if only we had some insider investigating that.
If only.
But what's really weighing on Jace's mind is that his decision to kick Heimerdinger off of the council, because he was his mentor and he betrayed him. And I really liked how that is still weighing on him. Even I guess it hadn't been that long, has it?
It's still we don't throw it out. It's not like, yeah, I've committed to the decision. It's done. It's, oh, it was a hard decision. I might have fucked up.
Yeah, Jace is coming to understand the consequences of his actions, and it's really cool how he's still, he's still new to this, so he's still struggling to accept what he's done.
Yeah.
And Mel continues to encourage him, being like, "Hey, this is what we need to do."
Yeah. And then I wrote something down. I have no idea if it ever comes up again. Mel places a nut over Jace's heart. And I was like, symbolism question mark? Oh, I wrote it wrong. What? I wrote symbol sim?
Symbol sim. No, that is not symbolism. She just said, oh, be sure to care for your nuts.
It's how she wants to nut on his emotions. Great. Thank you. Good writing. I thought it was gonna come in something later where it's like he's metal, he's heartless or something, but it never did.
Nope. No, he never becomes heartless.
I figured that
if anything, he's anything but.
Because it's such a really specific gesture of putting a metal thing over his heart, and I was thinking something's gonna happen with that, but nothing did in Act 3.
No, you're wrong. I think it would have been funny if she hands it to him. She's like, "I got a bolt."
And he's like,
"That's how I would have."
Mel, this is a washer.
Hire me. right. Hire me.
Cause she just hands him the wrong thing. It's it's just a washer, Mel. What are you talking? This doesn't even work. And she's already gone.
She's just still walking super confidently away. Yeah, I told him. I said the badass thing and I walked out. And he's like, "This is a washer."
Oh, that's it.
Anyways, we cut to Sevika and Silco talking about the bridge lockdown. They're worried, is Marcus still on our side? Has he lost it? Silco believes he's just Marcus won't betray us because they have his family under threat.
Yeah.
And I really like this scene though because Silco leaves to go find Jinx, and Sevika tells him that she'll come to him when she's ready. And it's really sweet because Sevika hates Jinx, but they find this weird way to relate to each other because Sevika relates to how she and her dad used to act towards each other. And so she can, in this weird way, relate to the father-daughter relationship that Silco and Jinx have.
Did we ever find out about Sevika's dad? I don't remember that at all.
No. She just says, when I was whenever I got in a fight with my pa, eventually I went to him when he was ready or something, when I was ready or something.
Oh, okay.
But she ends it by saying she'll come to you. She doesn't outright say that. She just ends the conversation with saying she'll come to you when she's ready. And so really sweet of Sevika actually having this one moment of relating to her. Anyways, we cut to Jinx just throwing shit around in her cave, talking to herself.
Yeah, standard Jinx scene.
Yeah. That's about the scene, really.
Oh, I really like when she's stapling her leg up, and she's just screaming in pain, but she's like laughing about it as she's stapling up her leg wound. That was good.
Yeah.
But standard Jinx scene.
Yeah.
One good part of the episode.
I just wrote the big tree. Oh yeah, Echo walking around showing Vi the big tree. I think it would be best to like establish what this place is called because it doesn't have a name. So I just called it the Safe Haven in all my notes.
Oh, I just called it tree. So
either one.
Yeah.
So he talks about how he created this safe haven after Vander died for all the people that were still in the Undercity that needed help and that weren't with Silco. And he tries to convince Vi that Powder is gone and that she's not Jinx and that Jinx works for Silco.
Yeah, which is all true, but it's hard to swallow.
Yeah, Vi is just, this entire show is basically refuses to accept that since the end of Act 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's about that scene. Then we cut to the riot on the bridge with Jace allowing Victor to cross.
Oh, I liked
I just have written down Jace becomes racist. Because at one point he's like, what are you doing with them? The filthy people of the Undercity. I'm like, whoa, Jace,
hey,
slow your roll.
Jace, buddy. I also like how he's racist when like you literally can't tell them apart. They don't look any different.
Yeah.
He knows. He can smell them. He's got like a sixth sense for racism.
It's more classism than racism. It's like, what are you doing with the Undercity folk?
The Undercity.
The Undercity.
My waveforms are looking all weird.
That's fine.
I was gonna say about the tree. It was cool. That we like did a focus on the firelights, and we did a couple of those, but I didn't think they would come back. All that.
You mean the fireflies in particular?
I thought they were called the firelights because the green ones is what they're named after.
Yeah, it'll just be weird to call both the creature and the group the firelights.
Okay, that's fine. Whatever. Yeah, firelights, and fireflies. Sorry. Yeah, it was just cool. The mural on the tree was very nice. That's all I had.
Yes. I like that they put Powder there to like symbolize Powder is dead.
Yeah. This person is dead.
Powder's gone.
The body's still there. The mind is
not coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's not coming back. It's the important part. And then we cut to Silco meeting with the Kim Barons, which I thought was really weird because if Silco had to answer to a group after overthrowing Vander, where was this group for the entirety of Act 2? They were never even mentioned before Act 3. They're just this new, like, supposedly important group that just hasn't existed until now.
I've been fine with it. It was just, I imagine people he had, like, working with him, like, he's head honcho, but there's, like, also a council down there. Like, he probably, after Act 1, like, he had no one. And so he was just like, I'll get some friends to help me, like, divvy up the work. I bought it.
Yeah, I guess.
Like because
it's
there was like
Act
no
2
point.
and Act 3 happened right after each other.
Yeah, but I imagine it happened like in the background between Act 1 and Act 2, and it just wasn't relevant until Act 3.
I was just saying, like, mentioning something like, oh, the Kim Barons would be upset with this or something. Just
didn't even know they had a name.
Oh, who could those be? They call them the Kim Barons at like once.
Okay.
Exactly. There's so little know about them.
Their designs are fucking ugly. I wrote that.
Yeah, I don't like their designs, but I think it's supposed to be this kind of like rich street thug kind of look.
One of them has like a really gross snot tube around their like nose. It's just
oh, you mean
there's a car going
Moira?
by. Yeah, I just wrote Moira as her name because I didn't know her name. So
yeah, I don't know her name either. So we'll just call her Moira.
It's just Moira. Just think like Moira Overwatch. Put like a Bane mask over her, and then have like Mountain Dew tubes going to her nostrils. There you go. Sir.
There you go.
It's gross.
Yeah. So what the Kim Barons want to do is they want to give the gemstone back, so that way even a little trade can continue. So Silco gasses the place.
Oh, yeah. Great. He's just a bio-terrorist now. That's my favorite.
Yeah. But he's bio-terrorizing the bad people. So does that make him a good guy now? No, it doesn't.
Complex morality kicks in.
It's not very complex. He's bad. Silco bad. Write that down.
What was the point of him like gassing? Was it just like, no, I
It's a
own
power
you?
move. It's a power move. And just say, look, you don't know what it was like back before we were rich. Like, back before, yada, yada, yada. It's basically old power versus new power. Whereas, like, these new people don't have the perspective that he has.
Gotcha. So, because I was also confused why he was like immune to the gas, but I guess it's because he doesn't really have like he has the experience of the gas, so he's just like, I'm used to it. Versus them,
Yeah,
it's
and
like
also,
it's not poisonous, it's just icky.
well, also, when he walks into the room, there's a scene where we see there's a fan just like built up into the ceiling, and as he walks in, we see the fan like slowing down and turning off, so they like actively are
Yeah.
turning off the ventilation, which shows that they're used to ventilation. Whereas I think Silco's near like the bottom, whereas these people are up in a high building, just kind of living
Mm-hmm.
a life of luxury in the Undercity, whereas Silco's more in the nitty gritty place.
Yeah.
So he's used to the filth and the grime, whereas these guys are like they're too big for that, they think. So he's used to the gas, I think.
The one that does go against him though that's interesting is Finn. Who he's like I don't know how to describe him. He's got like the jaw mask, like a side
He just
swoop.
like his entire lower jaw is just replaced with like a gold lower jaw.
Yeah. And so he's the one who's like, why do we gotta listen to you, bud? And then he is like, he gives everyone masks because, stinky. But except for Finn, he's like, go on, say sorry. And so he's like, please, I'm sorry. Please, I don't want stinky no more. Please, mask.
It smells so
It
bad.
smells so bad. And then Silco takes a hit real hard. And then he gives it to him.
Yeah. He takes the boof.
He hits
That good
boof.
old oxygen boof.
And then Finn, he's like slobbering because he's just like
Oh yeah.
gassed so hard. And then it's just like, thank you. I promise
Thank
never
you,
again.
Oh, generous benefactor.
And so that's the whole scene. It's just a power move, but it's interesting. And you see the fan come back on too to dissipate the gas.
Yeah, as they leave, they turn the fan back on.
So yeah,
Then we go to Mel as she's just looking over the city. It's a really pretty like sunset, honestly, at the city, which is cool symbolism for like an era coming to an end or something. I don't know. I didn't really consider what it symbolized.
I see sunsets as orange.
What?
I don't know. It's the
Fuck
thing that you did to me last
Fuck
time.
you. Hey, you got me. You got me good, didn't you? She talks to her assistant about how the Undercity threat makes Piltover look vulnerable. And she talks about how, like, Jace is. She again talks about Jace kind of objectively and his usefulness, which is interesting. And again, that doesn't really come into play. They kind of set this weird thing up where Mel has the ability and considers, like, using Jace, like, pulling the strings on him, but doesn't follow through in the final act with really doing that because her mom comes in and wants her to follow through with it.
Yeah, that's episode
But
8
she
though,
changes
right?
her mind. Yeah, I guess we'll get there when we talk about that. And
Yeah.
we see that Mel gets a letter with her family seal on it. So I wonder what
Who could that be?
Ooh.
Pay no attention to what we said 15 seconds ago. It could be anybody.
It could be me. I'm in League of Legends now. Imagine Dragons is in League of Legends, so am I.
I don't have anything written for a little bit here. I was just like getting bored. I'm like, okay,
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
Set up.
This was a lot of talk in this episode. I mostly just wrote down like what happened and not really about what happened.
Oh, we got another setup scene. Thank you, League of Legends. Give me another.
Caitlyn gets
please.
untied, talks to Echo a little bit. I think they talk about going and bringing the gemstone back to the upside. No, that is later, actually. Caitlyn kind of just gets untied, and that's it. Oh yeah, she sees that Vi isn't in trouble, and touching moment.
Yeah. Nothing.
Jinx sneaks up on Silco as he's drugging it up, and she starts like stabbing him with the drug
I
needle,
love
and
this
not the
scene.
right place. Yeah, it's pretty good. She's just like furious that Silco lied about Vi being dead.
Hello, father. Why is my sister back? Explain.
That's no good. You just hear the Knuckles. Oh no.
And then Silco's just like, but I love you, baby. And then she's like, oh, okay.
Well, he tells her that Vi isn't only back for the crystal. He's not back for her. And that he is her only family, and that she needs to complete the weapon.
Which is that what she uses in episode 9 is what they're talking about?
Yeah, that's this whole Jinx getting this gemstone is to create a weapon to help the Undercity overthrow Piltover.
Gotcha.
Sorry, I'd take a sip of my Minute Maid pink lemonade. So now we cut back to Caitlyn and Echo talking. They kind of had this back and forth of, oh, all enforcers are bad, Undercity bad, and they kind of get to understand each other's perspectives. And Echo shows that he has the gemstone, and she explains that the gemstone is why all of the enforcers are getting so aggressive, is that they need it back.
Yeah, Caitlyn explains it to Echo.
Yeah, and she argues that giving the gemstone back will help heal the city. That's the most important thing to do, is to heal the city by giving the gemstone back in good faith. That will show that, not everyone in the Undercity is bad and wants to hurt Piltover.
It's just this small group, and like they mostly just want to be left alone, is all it is.
Mm-hmm. And then we cut to Victor, Jace, and Mel looking over the grenade that Marcus gave them. Don't really understand why Mel is here when they're going to disarm a grenade. Or take apart a grenade.
It's just what happens when your girlfriend just follows you everywhere, Nick. That's just what happens. Like when you get a girlfriend, she's with you forever. So relationships work.
Oh yeah, okay.
He's just like, there were two bros, and he's like, "What the fuck, bro? I wanted to invite you over to see the bomb." He's like,
"Bro, what happened to us?
Brought my girlfriend." You know?
Bro, what happened to us? We were supposed to disarm grenades together, just you and me, dude.
It's like that one like ghost scene with like the pot making with the hands. That's what they're gonna do and disarm the grenade together. And like,
you talking about from Ghostbusters?
Bro? I don't think it's from Ghostbusters. What is it called? It's like where this. It's a really famous movie scene where it's like a ghost guy with like a pot, and he's like has his hands around the girl who's like, it's like her dead husband or something.
Oh,
and they're making like a pot together.
Ghostbusters.
No, it's
Ghosts
not.
Immediately thought Ghostbusters.
No, I'll have to find the scene and send it to you.
Sorry, I got a lust to bust.
I'm gonna go ahead and click through there. So if you hear clicking sounds, that's what I'm doing. Don't get mad at me.
It's fine. I don't think.
Not
it's
you.
so
I mean the
important.
audience. You're not allowed to be mad at me anymore.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways.
I know you don't care.
Mel starts suggesting that Victor and Jace make weapons to fight against the Undercity. And they are, especially Victor, is hugely against making weapons, because their entire reason of starting this whole project and just research was to help people. And weapons typically hurt people more than help them. Typically.
Yeah. Okay, I found it's this scene. It's a very romantic scene.
Okay. So Victor then accidentally activates the grenade, and then he proceeds to disarm it.
He doesn't give a fuck the entire time, by the way, if I remember correctly. He's just kind of looking at it and talking, and then...
Well, he starts, like, sweating. Like, once he activates it, he starts caring.
Yeah, but he doesn't, like, go... He's just like, yeah, I know how to do this.
Have the time to do that.
Done. It's cut off. Sigma grind, all that. It's paid off. No distractions.
Yeah. And then we start on this montage of things happening where we see Victor starts inscribing runes all over his leg. Jace goes and visits his mother. Heimerdinger goes to the Undercity. Victor then injects himself with some of the Shimmer variant and grabs the Hex core, which then infuses his blood with Hex Tech. and he gets this. We'll see later. It turns his leg into like metal. This weird like biological metal. It's really cool looking, actually.
And
and
that peaked so hard. I'm sorry.
And then we cut to Echo, Vi, and Caitlyn as they try and meet up with the enforcers on the bridge. Because earlier they had said, we're going to meet up with them, with the council. Echo's going to be the one to give back the gemstone. It's kind of the compromise that they made. And we see Jinx spying on them, talking to herself. We see Milo in the background. And I love over time in the scene as Milo grows darker or bigger and bigger, and he starts like looming over her. It's really cool looking.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah, and Vi talks about I can't leave my sister behind. Turns around, goes back to the Undercity, starts hightailing it back. Not really that fast. She kind of just meanders back. And then as they go to meet Marcus pulls a gun and shoots Echo.
Yeah, that was a very turning moment where like he cannot be redeemed anymore. I feel like that was like the very critical moment of just like this character, he's evil. You're done. Like you can't redeem him. So a very cool, like important moment, just showing like where his faith lies.
It's like his like I don't know if he would be completely. I don't know if I would call him completely evil, because he's doing it to protect his family. It's just his previous decisions have trapped him, and he kind of became ruined by his previous decisions.
Yeah, I didn't mean like full blown evil, but I mean evil in the sense of like
he's on the bad
side. No longer morally gray in a way where he can go back. He's done. Like he's closed off as
committed.
Being like a bad guy, air quote.
Yeah, he's on the bad side.
He's evil at this point, and so yeah, sealed his fate. All that. Door is closed, which is important a little bit later, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, and then he aims the gun at Caitlyn, and he's like, I'm gonna do it, but he can't really, because I think he's still not really realized. I don't think he saw Echo as like important or like a person even. I think he's kind of into that whole like racism thing. Then when he aims the gun at Caitlyn, he finds it much harder to shoot her. I think also because he knows her.
In Act 1, like when he goes into Vander's bar and everything, he has like his whole speech.
He's disgusted by them.
Yeah, he's just like, you filthy fucking Undercity, you all should be locked up or whatever, something like that. So he's very racist.
And I also think his interactions with Silco have been like, wow, these people have even trapped me in this scenario. They're the fucking worst.
Yeah. Like if
it weren't for these Undercity folk, then I wouldn't have to be doing all of this. I could be out of my situation if it weren't for the Undercity people.
It's not Silco holding me back. It's the entire Undercity holding me and my family under like captivity, basically.
Yeah, and Silco is just a part of that.
Yeah, Silco just happens to be a part of that problem.
So this is when we get a bunch of these fireflies start swarming over the bridge. It's actually really cool looking, as like hundreds of them swarm this bridge, and then one of them lands on Marcus's gun as he's aiming at Caitlyn, and it starts like ticking, and we get to see it's actually made of metal. And then when its wings tick into place, we see Jinx's motif as all of the fireflies explode.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, Jinx did it. That's crazy.
Yeah, Jinx walks in from the smoke, and she's actually humming the song from the first scene of the show.
I wrote that down too. It was cool.
It's a cool little callback, because this is, the bridge is where the last riot happened when she was a child.
Yeah, and
the last like destruction.
The song before was to distract her from the war, and now as she's like a participant fully embracing the chaos, she's like turned that song from like a coping mechanism into like a weapon to push herself almost. I guess like it's become part of it is like kind of an insanity thing, but it's also like how the song has been inverted on its head. Rather than trying to avoid the war and like think peace or whatever, it's now being used like by someone who's using it as a tool for violence or something,
Yeah,
it's cool. That motif,
So
very cool.
yeah, and we see as she walks in, we then cut to Caitlyn being injured, and she looks at Marcus, and Marcus dies. He talks about his last words are about saying that he loved his child.
Yeah, tell my family I loved them.
Yeah, that's why I say that's why I argue he's not evil. He's just on the bad side.
Yeah, I just
Whereas I would argue that Silco is evil. Marcus is just on the bad side.
I didn't mean it to be a semantics thing. I just meant like he's bad, and then that just seals his fate. He can't go back. That's all I meant.
Well, I don't even think he's bad.
I think he's bad. He shot a kid.
I guess it's an argument of doing bad things to like for a good reason. Would be the good reason being protecting his family. Does that make him a bad guy?
I feel like at a certain point, your bad decisions stop becoming like justifiable, and I think that's what the point was. He's just shot an innocent kid,
yeah,
to protect his own innocent kid. Where it's like, you've gone too far, bud.
Yeah. I'm going to stop the semantical debate because you know that this will go on for 30 minutes if we don't stop.
It's important to mention, by the way, that Echo didn't even die.
Yeah, no, he had like a armor on.
The bullet was stopped, so his like action was really in vain, air quote. So it didn't even like he didn't even have to like his shot on Echo didn't even do anything. Like his last.
Well, it caused
act.
him to drop the gemstone, so it did do something technically.
Just his final intent of like stopping this, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Jinx then grabs Echo's container and shoots at Vi and Caitlyn, but Echo then flies in. Reveal Echo is dead. Echo flies in on like his board and smacks at Jinx, and then we start this fight scene as Echo tells Jinx or Caitlyn and Vi to run away. The fight scene that I had already shown you, so the impact is probably not nearly as high, but conversation we've already had off screen is that I really like this fight, but I disagree with the choice of music because common theme in this show. But
at this point, I've adjusted. Just to clarify, by episode 7, I'm just like, cool. We're doing a KDA song or something. I don't know. That's just how it is.
Yeah, we went from such a heavy mood of like, holy shit, like all these people are dying, the enforcers, there's an explosion, people are injured, holy shit, it's such a heavy mood, and then we turned into like a pop song. And that's why I guess it wasn't really like a pop song. It kind of fit. What they were going for was something that we see Echo starts this like clock, and the ticking of it goes to the beat of the music. And we see overlaid to them actually fighting was them playing as kids, like Echo trying to dodge her shooting at him, and that's what he's doing now.
Mm-hmm.
But what I said would probably have made for a better musical tone was if they did something more like a kid's song or like a song you hear as a child, like Ring Around the Rosie or something. Because then when you switch to the present version, you can switch it to like a slower version or a minor key or something like that. And that way you can maintain this overall heavy mood, because what happened was we have a heavy mood, this fight scene with an unfitting song, in my opinion, and then another heavy mood. And so I think you should try and keep this heavy mood throughout all 3 scenes. So that way they all overarching, it's a heavy mood, instead of that overarching heavy mood being interrupted by a like poppy kind of song.
The intent to me was an ass-kicking song.
Yeah, and it felt like a really weird time.
It did what it wanted to. I don't know if it was a perfect choice or not. I liked it enough, though.
Yeah, again, like I said with the whole Caitlyn stuff, I'm not saying, oh, this show's garbage now. It's like, there's a series of like really small things that I just like to talk about in depth.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, post-fight scene, he dodges her bullets, smacks her in the face, goes to fucking town. But as he's going to town, he's like about to finish her off, but then he hesitates, and she gives him those old puppy eyes, and then she blows them both up.
Yeah,
because she armed a grenade.
It's a little betrayal. One last fuck you. She's like, I win, Bye.
Haha, my win.
And then like the clock breaks. Echo's clock breaks. That's like the last shot, right? And
Yeah.
it's kind of
I
like
think like they wander off, Vi and Caitlyn do.
their time is up, is where I took that as like a literal metaphor for like, clock's broken, they're dead or something, or like their time, like it's irreparable. Like a clock breaking is a very specific like symbolic thing.
Hey, I didn't really notice that, honestly.
I was just like, I kind of cheesed it. I was like, it's their time is up. It's probably something a little different than that, but that's what I was like. Oh yeah, like the clock stops ticking. It's over. Irreparable. Because didn't that clock also? I feel like it broke during Act 1 at some point, or was involved in something with like.
No, in
that one
Act
guy
1,
dying.
Echo was repairing a broken clock when we first see him. And I don't really remember any other clock symbology. I can scroll up and look through the notes.
Yeah,
But,
there wasn't anything heavy implied. I just knew he's like he has some clock symbology with him for obvious reasons later on. With like, nothing happens in this season, but Echo is a Time Lord boy, so
yeah, Echo's subtitle. Every champion has a subtitle. His is literally the boy who shattered time.
Well, he did it there. His clock's broken. Good job, bud. That's all I really have to say on that.
So episode 8.
I think this one was a lot better.
Definitely.
Straight up.
100%.
So much better.
It was
absolutely
good,
incredible.
Where do we start? Let us see. Why am I so far down in my notes? Oh, I got bored and I scrolled up and down in my notes. That's why. So we start with a flashback of Mel as a child. Bab Mel. Not that far back. She's like 12.
10?
10?
Yeah.
12? Who knows? Doesn't really matter. Her mother is teaching her about kind of like these Noxian ideals. We don't really see Noxus in this show a whole lot, but we kind of, it's interesting to get to see the different ideals of the different countries, or at least something other than Piltover and progress this and progress that. They're just like, you have to be both cunning and ferocious. Mostly the ferocious part. Basically, show no mercy is what she teaches her when making your decisions, because she brings in someone from an old regime and she says, what would you do with them? And she offers, we can show the people that we're merciful by exiling her so that she still lives, but she's no longer part of the nation. And she says, well, that will lead to her fostering an army, or like coming back with an army and attacking us. So let's just
there's a risk. Like, even if you don't think there is, there's always a risk to letting someone live.
Yeah, nip the problem in the bud.
Mm-hmm. Don't be weak is the idea.
Yeah, be a wolf, something along those lines. Wolf, and a wolf has no mercy. I think that's how the scene ends, as she wakes up for her dream. Like super panicked. Oh, and I love the red painting in the background.
I was gonna say, before we, like, at the very end of her dream, we get a little graphic, and I love it. It's like this what the fuck moment. So you see like her slice her sword at the prisoner, the Mel's mom does, like at her neck, and I'm just like, oh, she like cut her open or something. And then we see the camera tilt along with the head.
Oh yeah, it's really
and instantly
good.
You're like, oh fuck, she lost her head, dude. She's gone. And like it's so cool. Like that's just one of those like shorthands for like, you didn't have to make the beheading very graphic. You could see like a little tear on the neck, but it's not like this gruesome, like, the head pops down on the ground. It's just, they do like this cool tilt on the camera with the head, and you get the idea. Like, a neck shouldn't bend that way.
Yeah.
So,
and do you think when Mel's mother is like comforting her afterwards, do you think she tells her, now Mel, this is nothing to lose your head over?
Don't do that. Yeah,
anyways,
don't be like that.
Her mother cuts the head off, and then she wakes up from the dream. And I love this red painting in the background that just symbolizes like all the blood and violence of, just her family in general. Like that's kind of their ideals, is like war.
Or just like threatening violence, like to get people in line, essentially, is domination through violence.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
Flex your muscles, then no one messes with you.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Don't chuckle and like Sonic. Um, then Silco goes onto the bridge and he sees Jinx dying and he's like freaking out. And he sees Vi run away as she is running to get help. But we see that in Jinx's hand she has the gemstone. So Caitlyn very plainly spells it out for us that she has the gemstone. This was all for nothing.
Yeah.
And then Imagine Dragons.
Oh, do we actually get Imagine Dragons?
We do. After that,
I didn't remember that.
You probably click the skip opening button just like I do.
Oh, it was the opening. Okay. I was like, I don't remember cutting to Imagine Dragons song after like, Silco's dead daughter, and they're just like, I'm waking up to dead bodies. My daughter's dead.
Yeah. So, anyways, we cut to the next day after the opening, and the bridge is just filled with enforcer bodies.
What I like about cutting back to this, by the way, is that we've cut back to Marcus's body. This is like the third time we see it in the exact same position, like the dead eyes.
Yeah.
And like, no, genuinely, I love it. It's like, this passage of time. It's like, yet he stands still. And so it's like everything around him is like changing. Like, the sun's coming up. It's dawn now versus nighttime.
Yeah, it's really cool.
He's still there. He's still dead.
And which we really get to see like the destruction that's occurred and like the death that happens in the daytime.
Yeah.
Because like in the nighttime, it's kind of like, it's really dark. You can't really tell how much has occurred, but then they just spell it out. It's like, yeah, shit went down here. And Jace, when he sees the bodies, he just vomits over the bridge, which I don't really blame him.
It looked like the nacho cheese or whatever she was eating. Vi was eating in Act 2. It's like the same fluid physics.
I don't like the fluids in this show.
I don't like it anymore. I was fine with it before as like a little gross food thing, but now it has like the same, not texture, but same physics properties as vomit. And now I'm like,
yeah, they're both equal to each other now that they've shown us both. Yeah, then Vi sneaks Caitlyn and herself into Caitlyn's house as they're trying to be like all sneaky, but her mom kicks down the door with a gun. And then they have a little family talk afterwards. We get to see Caitlyn's dad finally.
Yeah.
Who looks exactly like
cool.
Ironwood.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're putting that up now.
I just wanted to say that he looks like Ironwood.
Character from Ruby, in case anyone doesn't know.
Probably should have mentioned that, but you can Google Ironwood. I'm sure it wouldn't be.
Specifically, Volume 7 Ironwood, where he has the beard. It's identical.
Yeah. But it's blue. It's blue. Big blue.
Yeah, but he blew.
But he blew.
I'm so sad we didn't make the he head come off joke when the prisoner lost her head.
God damn it. There's this funny video of, who is it?
Oh.
Lyle. I think... I forget what his channel name is, but he did
McDouchebag.
Yeah, well, no, he changed his branding to, I think, Lyle Wrath, or Wrath Club, I think is what it's called now.
Oh, that's such a not good name. I'm sorry, Lyle. I love you.
McDouchebag isn't really good branding, I guess, is why I changed it. I don't know. Ask him yourself. Go to his flood. Okay, actually, wait. Don't. I was about to say flood his comments, but don't brigade his comments. No.
Click off this video. Ignore it. You're done with this one. Go watch Lyle He Had Come Off compilation.
There you go.
It's probably like 10 seconds. Anyway, what were we talking about with the actual show?
Family talk.
Oh,
they're talking
Caitlyn's
about
parents.
Go ahead.
Shout out to them being so supportive.
Yeah,
they're good parents.
I like the dad just being like, "Well, now, calm down, honey." He's a good dad.
Now, she was trying her best.
He blue though. He do be blue.
I didn't notice he was blue.
No, he's not. Skin's not blue.
It's not James Cameron Avatar.
It's not Rise, except Rise was in the show and wasn't blue. I think it was Rise. But he's not blue, so that's kind of part of his identity is being blue.
We see we go to Singed right after this.
Yeah, but first
with
before
Silco.
that, Caitlyn's mom says that she'll help arrange a meeting for Caitlyn and Vi with the council, and then we cut to
that's
Singed
important.
As Silco brings Jinx in, her almost corpse. And Silco is just urging him that I don't care what happened, so just fix her, make her well.
Make her live.
Yeah, and so Sin's just like, night night, and then he drugs Silco. I think he says...
He uses the Mountain Dew. He does it. Right in Silco's neck.
Yeah.
It finally happened.
He does the dew.
It's not the purple, it's the green.
I think it was like yellowish.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, I forgot you're red green colorblind.
just a wee bit.
Anyways, we cut to Sevika just at the bar that Vander used to own. I guess that's Silco's operation now. As Finn, the one Kim Baron, walks in to talk to her. And he just tries to talk her into portraying Silco. And, you know, it seems like it's working. Like, he tries to play to her ego at first, and she's just like, this isn't working. He's like, all right, well, you notice he's kind of slipping up, right? And she doesn't really argue against that.
I like his quote where he's like, ego is one thing, brain is another. Where he's like, yeah, I was playing to your ego, but also hear me out.
Yeah.
It's the smart thing. Not only am I better, but it is in your best interest to be with me. Yeah. And she has like a cool arm sword now, by the way.
Yeah, she's like,
they just
upgraded Sevika's arm while they're talking. It's really cool. It's cooler later when apparently it could like shoot lasers and shit. But
yeah, we get into like some really cool shit, but for now it's like a stick on an arm.
Yeah.
But it's still cool. You're like, oh, I hope that happens sometime.
Yeah.
And it does.
And I really like how Silco babying over Jinx is making waves outside of just like Sevika getting upset. Like Sevika isn't the only one like, okay, wait, this is kind of a big deal. You need to stop, like, she needs to face some consequences. And other people are starting to realize that too. Because she is a pretty significant force in the Undercity. So things revolving around her should pretty much affect the entire Undercity. And they are. And that's what I like. Then we get Mel's mom.
Best character. Love her.
Yeah, I do love her. She's great.
She's great.
She comes and she flies in. Mel comes to beat her. She flies in from Noxus.
Yeah, that's where we get the name drop.
Yes, finally. Which means nothing to anyone who hasn't played League. But she embodies their ideals pretty well, so you kind of get an idea of what they're like. And she is basically here because she wants Hextech weapons. And she's come to talk to Mel and push Mel in the direction of make Hextech weapons that our family will get first, at least, if not exclusively.
Yeah, I do like, so there's like this part where she's like, hey, welcome, I'm here, good to see you, just paying a visit. And then like it cuts as they're walking, she's like, your brother's dead. Mel's like, what?
Yeah.
Your brother's dead. We can make weapons to fix that.
Well, I don't know if the weapons are going to fix him being dead.
We'll stop people from dying. I'm going to mess around with the cute boys in your town. They're like little 20-year-olds. He's gonna mess around with me. Bye. She leaves.
Yeah, I got a hottie waiting for me, so I'll see ya.
Unapologetically, just horny brain. It's just like, I'm gonna flex my power. Bye.
Yeah, she's so indulgent in the resources that she has earned.
And the voice actress, fantastic for her.
Yeah, I've definitely heard her somewhere
Mel's mom
before,
is so good.
But I couldn't really put where. But it's not really important.
Really good voice performance is all I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Great character, great performance. She doesn't really do a ton, but
she's kind of there to like
really left an impact.
Push forward ideas, just reinforce ideas too.
And we kind of learn where Mel is coming from a little bit more.
But it's nice to see, like, we actually get to see part of Mel's family, because she mentions a few times her like exile and how she has like familial expectations.
Yeah. My note is just, Mel's mom finds a boy toy to go fuck. That was it. That's not what ends up happening, but
I wrote something pretty similar.
I was like, oh shit, she knows what she wants.
Mm-hmm. And she gets it. She grabs it.
She gets it.
Boy, does she get it. So then we
I
cut
love
to Vi just looking over the entire Pepe Sylvia that Caitlyn has done. Uh, and she just appreciates that. She's like, wow, you did all this by yourself. It's like, how could you know this without going down there? And she's just...
It's simple. Pepe Sylvia.
So
It's on all the letters.
I went to the mailroom and no one's in the mailroom. And that's why I said,
Someone
Silco.
please. If it's not animated, someone please animate that with Caitlyn and Vi. I need that. That's really funny.
I'm gonna see if there's a cameo. How much do you think it would cost to cameo the voice actress to do like a custom script of like the Pepe Sylvia but rewritten to be about Silco? I'm gonna find out.
I'd say $100, but it'd be worth it.
No, it would be so much more than $100 for how many lines that is.
Yeah, maybe.
I've never used Cameo, but probably more than $100.
You could hire an imitation one on Fiverr.
Probably
$100.
There we go. There.
Easy. Yeah.
So we're after Boy Toy. Yeah. And,
they have like a heart-to-heart.
Yeah.
Caitlyn and Vi do.
Vi reminisces about her childhood. You know, about her and Powder.
And then Caitlin's like, "Hey, it's not your fault," and then Vi's like, "No, it is. It's my fault."
Yeah, no.
I could have done more. And Caitlyn is like, "You're in prison. I shouldn't have been in prison, I guess."
Yeah, my people did that to you, didn't we? Huh? I don't think about that, Vi.
I didn't say it. Don't think about that. I'm still your friend. I wish it had gone a little bit more into like this bonding, because it's like you can tell they care about each other, but it's like based on runtime or something. And it's like I wish there was a little bit more there that we could unpack, kind of, establish some more there, maybe.
Yeah, but maybe establish Caitlyn's reason to be in. No, I'm kidding. We're not starting that again.
How? All right, mister. You're going back in your box. There's going to be a solo cast for the rest of the Act 3.
No.
I'm closing the lid. I'm taking out the packing tape. Here we go. You're going in the box. Ship to Albuquerque,
Noxus.
New Mexico. Well, you would like that. Mel's mom's there.
Not anymore.
Oh, yeah. Well, what is Noxus like? Is it like a desert?
No, it's, I think it's pretty... temperate, maybe. I think it's got a variety. I know there's like a snowy part because there's a cutscene of Darius approaching a king. Whatever. Anyways, Boy Toy. Jinx is operated on.
I love this next scene.
Yeah, where she has these hallucinations of Jinx or of Vi and Caitlyn, as they're just like just evil, pretty much versions of them.
Yeah, and it's like also like what is the drug that's being put on her, and what is like already what's been broken in her mind of like these visions, because it's like they're overlapping over Singed, and he's like, oh, this won't hurt a little bit, but then it like overlaps with Caitlyn's voice actress, and it's like it's a very weird like melding in her mind, but it's so cool. Really good job on that, for sure.
Yeah, and they kind of use this as the opportunity. This is like the perfect opportunity, what we were talking about in like Act 2, like post-baptism. This is like the perfect opportunity to have a sharper turning point. And they do a really good turning point with her character from here.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really see her anymore other than like 2 other scenes and then the final confrontation. But that final confrontation is fantastic.
It also is like half an episode. So we'll get to that.
Yeah, so we'll have plenty to unpack there.
It's good. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Is like it's not like 2 scenes. It's like more like there's a scene and then like a mega scene.
Oh no, there were 3 scenes. There were 2 scenes and then the final scene is what I was saying. Just like 2 kind of like small things of like her. We see one scene she does something, and another scene she gets some information, and so it kind of influences her. We'll get there when we get there.
Right. Yep.
And then Silco wakes up after the operation. He sees the table is empty, and so he just attacks Singe. And she's like, "What have you done?" He says, "Oh, I fixed her.
I win.
Singed wins."
I did my stinky passive on her, and she was fine.
I proxied the wave. I did my thing. I'm Singed.
I pressed E and put her over my shoulder into the other room.
I flung her over there, look! She's in the goo. You don't know what the goo is.
I do not know what the
His W is Eli's goo.
Half this show I was like, dude, he eat or whatever, because I see someone do like an ability. I'm like, oh, it's all coming together.
Well, actually, in this episode, we get to see like almost the entirety of Jace's moveset when he fights. It's really cool, and I find that's why I really like that one fight.
Oh,
scene.
like in the combat scene?
Yeah, that's like almost all of his moves.
That's next level. That's awesome.
Even his ability to switch forms between melee and ranged.
Well, Jace is actually kind of cool.
Oh yeah. I was waiting this entire show to see Jace just pull out the hammer, which also turns to gun. But we're
very nice.
Almost there.
We have Heimerdinger next, I think.
Oh, we got our Heimerdinger time of doing nothing.
He walks. Thank you very much.
Well, there's
a point to another point.
There's a scene. I kind of like how they really point out all of his flaws here about like how little he really understands and how helpless he is. Like the scene where like the beggar like reaches out to him and he like sits there and he actually considers like, what can I really do to help you? And he realizes there's nothing he can do to help him and just walks away. As he comes.
I also liked, by the way, because like he was wearing robes. I think they were similar robes to what Silco was wearing back in like Act 2 when he was giving out the drugs. So it's like, you know, of all people, he would expect, you know, the guy in the robe to have like the drugs or something. I might be wrong on that, but I thought that it was like the same robe or something.
Well, he just looked shady in general, and he like robed traveler looked shady. So it's like, yo, give me some of that shit.
Give me shimmer.
He makes a little toy for a girl too, and the mother drags her away. You know, that showcases how out of place he really is. And so he just
he's like this little weird stranger that like, even though he's so nice, it's like both of the Undercity are bad, but also it's like he's this weird gremlin thing that no one trusts.
I would argue he's not the weirdest thing here because there is a bat person. So they're used to like weird things in this area.
Yeah, but he's like he also might be famous, right? As like the famous counselor. So they might all know who he is. Maybe. And like not to mess with an upper Piltover person.
Maybe.
Right.
I assume they don't because he's from Piltover, and I don't think these people care enough about Piltover politics. They just see, oh, it's the upper class people over there, and just like fuck figured, all of them in general.
Maybe the mom was just like, yeah, he's from upper, like he has power over you. He could like don't mess with them.
I think it was more to showcase that like, don't leave your daughter unattended in the Undercity, period. And just like, whoa, no, there's someone talking to my daughter in the Undercity. Get away.
You can play in the scraps with the gear all you want, cut your hands up, but no talking to strangers, Missy.
Pretty much, that's...
Ugh. Good parents. Good parents.
So he just waddles his stubby little legs over to the pier. Oh.
I like how he had to teach the girl how a top worked, too. Where he's like kind of assumed that she would know, and he's like, no, like this, and he spins it.
Yeah, because they can't afford actual toys down there.
Mm-hmm.
So then he waddles his stubby little legs down to the pier, and he finds Echo's board, and he's like, and then Echo goes, and that's
because they're like, oh, it's the counter steering turn is not balanced for this air, and Echo's like, well, it's because it's in the Undercity with the stinky, which makes it like different air pressure.
Stinky actually pressurizes different than not stinky, believe it or not.
And so they had that whole conversation of like, wow, you're a cool engineer, but you have to get back to the Undercity, get some medical attention. So they like plan to go back down, right? That's like the whole scene.
Yeah, I think Heimerdinger's kind of here to like get perspective.
Yeah.
Because he didn't have to leave.
Heimerdinger has this new purpose.
He didn't have to leave Piltover, but I think Heimerdinger still wants to help. And he's trying to learn how he can do that. And I think he's trying to learn how he can do things with more immediate impact. I think he's trying to approach, like, his problems have been presented to him. And I think he's trying to learn how to fix that and trying to actually improve.
Like, if I'm not wanted in Piltover right now, maybe I can learn something in Zaun and, like, kind of understand people more directly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really cool idea. No payoff yet this season.
This season is just like to fill us in on like, hey, Heimerdinger will be important still. I promise.
I hope
goblin.
I hope he actually becomes like really important in season 2.
Me too.
And I hope Echo gets his time shit. And I just love seeing him and Echo just nerd out. It's really fun to watch.
Yeah, I like nerds because I am one, and
So
I like technology and engineering. So
because we
I
are.
never would have expected this pair up whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yet it fits so perfectly.
It's so good to see that just the passion brings them together, but they are from completely different worlds. Like they are, you couldn't find two more like polar opposite characters.
I mean, one of them's like a little hairy gremlin man.
That lives
So.
for like 200 years, and the other's fearing for his life every single day.
Right.
Yeah. So then we get some more hot mommy action. As Mel's mother is in a bath just talking to Jace.
My notes are all caps for the next 3 or 4 bullet points.
Go ahead.
That's it. It was just me going like, ooh, mom, no mom, ooh, she naked.
She is indeed naked.
Oh, it's funny.
Yeah, this scene, she basically just pushes Jace, like giving him. She relates it to some military history about a general that was always like blindfolded, and saying basically you need to like you are basically blindfolded in these matters, and you need my experiences so that you don't lose like this one general did. You need to be more aggressive. With like you have tech, use it aggressively, and use my experience with your ability.
Mm-hmm. The guy she pulled aside from earlier, by the way, is bathing her here. Like
yes.
rubbing her down. And I like how she just doesn't give a fuck. She just stands up and is naked and just walks over to Jace.
Everything she
Power
does is a
move.
power move.
Like, and like, I was surprised that the show was just like, we'll just show it. Just fuck it.
I think there was still like soap dripping off her, so they don't show everything.
It's pretty detailed though, like more than I thought it would be. It's not like actual nudity, but it's still like I thought this show would be like
95% of the way there.
I thought we would lean very lightly on the PG-13 line, but we kind of go borderline R.
Yeah.
And it's cool. It's like with the beheading and then this. It's like,
is this PG-13?
I think so.
Oh, I thought it'd be R.
I don't know. I'll have to check that.
I don't know the rules. Can you say fuck in PG-13 now? Because they said fuck a few
You can
times.
say fuck 3 times.
Oh, really?
Or 2 times, one of the two.
Oh well.
But you can say like most other words however much you want. But like, fuck, there's a counter on. You can't say like, I think any racial or homophobic slurs.
Okay.
But then you can curse all as much as you want. So, it's kind of crazy. Like, I've seen cursing in like an Incredibles PG movie.
It's so weird.
It's wild how times have changed.
I feel like ass is usually like universally like you can say ass.
Yeah. But it was like the Incredibles mom was like, "What the hell are you doing, Bob?"
Oh,
and I was
hell,
like, "What?
yeah.
This is a PG movie. What?"
I feel like hell is kind of now you can say that.
I mean, nowadays, yeah. I'm just saying, back in 2004 or
Back
whatever, this is not an important
nowadays.
conversation. It's just wild to me. Yeah, I'm gonna look this up. Arcane is.
Just look up Arcane rating.
I looked up Arcane rating.
Oh, it's probably gonna be like 9 out of 10.
Common Sense Media says mature 10-year-olds can watch.
Oh, okay.
So I can't find an actual rating for some reason. It's gonna be a TV rating,
So look up Arcane
TV-14.
age rating. TV-14, gotcha.
which is basically like PG, but like a little bit more. I forgot it's not a movie, so it's gonna have a TV rating. But yeah, point being, I hope you enjoyed our side tangent about like the International Film Board ratings.
Yeah. So
For
then
about 2 minutes.
Then we cut to Jace in a meeting as he's urging all of them that they need to act. And as they're all discussing how that happened, Caitlyn walks in and with Vi, and they talk about that Silco is the one behind it. And everyone's like, well, we looked into him already. We didn't see any of this shit. And she's just like, well, who looked into that? But they also
was Marcus.
They also push that, or they reveal that Silco's main purpose is to create this new nation called Zon.
So yeah, Undercity is now Zaun from anytime we talk
Well,
about
it's
it.
not
This is what.
created yet. It's still the Undercity currently. It like
Yeah,
it would become Zon once they get sovereignty, which they don't have yet.
yeah. I want to refer to it as Zaun from now on because I hate being like the Undercity. That's all I was saying.
It's fine.
Um,
So
yeah,
Vi then clears up that it was Jinx that made the grenade that Marcus gave and not the firelights. Um, and Jace says that now is the time to invade the Undercity with Hextech weapons. But Mel, surprisingly, with all the strings she's been pulling on Jace, she's just like, well, maybe we should approach a more diplomatic situation. And I guess being confronted by her mother made her realize that she doesn't want to be like her family. She wants to be more diplomatic and less warmongering than them.
mm-hmm.
I guess that's what gave her like this a more drastic switch. Was like, oh no, mom's here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just like a reminder of what she could become and what she hates.
exactly. So Vi argues that Silco will never back down in negotiations, and then she storms out. Uh, and Caitlyn goes and chases, and Vi talks with Caitlyn, and she says that they can't fix anything. Like, she's done trying, can't fix it, tried once, didn't work, time to quit, I guess. And then she goes back to the Undercity.
They have kind of like a breakup scene too.
Yeah.
Not, I mean, there was not really in a relationship; it was implied more than anything.
Yeah.
Which I wish it was more. But there's like this. I don't know how to call it, but it's like a we're through kind of scene, not like a breakup scene because there wasn't really like a kissy relationship or anything like that. But
Yeah. I think their
it was like
relationship is
we're
vague
done.
on purpose. Where it's like, I don't think they themselves really. I think they're, as Vi puts it in this scene, their differences in stature. I don't think either of them has been able to fully commit to like a full on romantic relationship because of this
Mm-hmm.
barrier of classism. So this is her saying, look, we've both considered it and I'm cutting it here. It's not going to work.
Yeah, I just hope in season 2 they like get together a little bit because
Well, in the season 2
I like
announcement
seeing them happy.
trailer, we get to hear Caitlyn saying, I don't know, saying stuff along the lines of, I don't know if I should go alone or if like if you should help or something. One of them says it. Like there's actual discussion, like that is a discussion that is going to happen. Like that's confirmed. Whether she does it alone or not. So we're going to further divulge into their relationship post final scene.
Cool.
Yeah.
um, what else was there left? We're back at Victor, I think. Right, is the
Yes.
next.
He's we get this running scene where he has this new biological hextech leg and he just starts like booking it. He's fucking running. And I really like how the music swells with how fast he's running.
It's such a good scene.
It's very emotional. I cried a tear for my boy. Not really, but almost.
Sigmas do not cry;
We
they
don't got
only
time for it.
celebrate. Yeah, he like because he drops his cane, he's like kind of walking with it, and then he starts walking without like with a limp, and then he starts pushing himself, and he starts running full on sprinting, which he's never been able to do before. And he's going like
And he just
the
screams.
scream,
Yeah.
yeah, ah,
That is a scream, yes.
yeah. So he goes full out. It's awesome.
And then we cut to him experimenting again, like putting runes all over his entire body now. And we also cut to his assistant kind of like walking, talking to herself about how much, like she's going to talk to him, but she's practicing, rehearsing what she wants to say. It's like, oh, I appreciate you so much and all that you do, and I really look up to you. And it's obvious it's a romantic interest too. Um,
She got a crush.
yeah, and then we look at Victor. He looks at the shimmer to like inject it into him, and he's just out. He's out of shimmer, and so he just like throws it aside, and he reaches to grab for the Hextech core without it, and she opens the door up to him, grabbing the core himself, just screaming. Like effects are happening all over the room. It's super destructive, and she grabs onto him and tries to pry him free. And as like they're both screaming, he notices her, and he's just absolute terror in his eyes as he notices her. And then she just turns to dust.
she fucking disintegrates.
Oh yeah.
It's really like gut wrenching.
Yeah, and he manages to get free, and we get to see that the hex core is now like changed. It's biological now, like it's organic.
Yeah, it's not like a metal, dodecahedron or whatever. It's like it's pulsating. It's got like organic. It's like a flesh thing.
Yeah.
I will say on the bright side, like we lost Powder for a while, but she came back. We got some powder on the ground.
I hate you.
It's very cool.
It's a really good callback to Powder. So then we cut to Jace forging his hex tech weapon, this hammer we see. Very fitting for, the Talus family. They used to be hammer makers, and I guess they still are. But Vi walks in.
There you go.
And she proposes a plan to attack Silco's shimmer operation. He threatens to arrest her, and she's like, nothing new. And then we just straight up, they're doing it. They cut to them hijacking a train.
Oh, we do get a little bit with the prison thing where she's like, do you even know what you're sentencing these people to?
Oh yeah, that's a really cool moment.
And Jace is like, no, I've never been over to Stillwater Prison. I'm learning names now, by the way. It's kind of impressive that I'm learning League of Legends lore from this.
Stillwater is
I'm
only related to Vi. It's not a recurring name.
All right, awesome. So only for when it's important for best girl. So yeah, they make like a deal reluctantly. They're like, we got to do something. But I did like how she was like, yeah, the prison thing doesn't scare me anymore. Like, you really have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I've done the time. I'll do it again. So then we just cut to them doing it, where we hijack a train, enforcers storm the operation, and Chase gets off the train. We finally see him with his hammer, and as they're just arresting this one boy, he presses this alarm, and we see these guys in these like big metal suits just get gassed with like shimmer gas, and they're just drugged up, and I call them the Kim guards.
Yeah, I called them shimmer sleeper agents. They were so sick, where they just like wake them up with like this little button press.
Yeah,
and
the security. They're almost like automatons. Yeah.
And they're like in spacesuits, pretty much, like pressurized. Like you can't control anything. We're gonna like inject you with like an insane amount of shimmer, but you're also like in a suit, so we have control over you.
I love the way that they move. It is awesome. And they remind me of Skaven assassins from Warhammer Fantasy. I know you've played Vermintide. They're in Vermintide. Just the way that they move so quick, and like the lunges that they do is super similar.
Oh yeah. Also, we didn't mention it, but the gauntlets from Act 2, like Episode 4, where he's like, these are mining gauntlets. They come back. They're Vi's weapon now.
Yeah, Vi picked them up when they were talking about storming the place.
So yeah, that's what she uses. Jace uses his
hammer. That hasn't started yet. So first, like, they come in, they start like killing all of the enforcers, and Jace starts fighting them as Vi like climbs down, well, more like slides down. They beat them up. I really like this fight scene. The song, I've rewatched this fight scene so many times. The song has really grown on me. This is a good time to use like an action badass beat 'em up song, as when they're being badasses and beating them up, and
I liked it.
Yeah. So this is where Jace, we get to see like a ton of his moves from the game. We get to see a few of Vi's. And then Jace turns his into a gun. The hammer turns to a gun.
Do we get more of Vi's moves later, by the way? Because I know we get another fight with Vi later.
One would be...
Are there like unique moves in that one?
The fight ends with her passive. You know how she gets a shield? That's actually her passive.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering if that was like another ability.
Yeah, it's whenever her passive is whenever she uses an ability, she gets a shield. But that's really hard to translate, so they just said it's an ability, whatever.
Yeah, it's like an active thing that she can turn on. Got it.
Her ult would be really funny to see because she just like points at someone, like rushes in a single like fist punch, and just like knocks them up. It's really, it would look really dumb to actually animate that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Apparently
so
we get some callbacks here. I don't know about him, but that's cool.
Jace starts blasting after it turns into a gun and blasts a child that was just in the way. And that's how the fight scene kind of ends, as he blasts this child and he falls down. It's kind of like a well in the center. The child just falls all the way to the bottom, just plops.
It's really sad. I don't know why I laughed. I was uncomfortable.
Well, because it
I'm not a
reminded
child
us, and we keep bringing it up about Ruby. Something very similar happens.
You cut out.
In Ruby, something very similar happens, and so we always laugh at the kind of resemblance.
People compare like Jace to this character called Ironwood, which we talked about earlier, actually, unironically again. Like, but he came back. Basically, it's like the dictator, or like turns from good to evil, and Jace is like a government official that turns from good to evil, has a gun, and also kills a kid. So it's like, oh, they're the same character. This is exactly the same for some reason. Like, because I've seen Ruby people talking about that.
Yeah, except the difference being Jace completely regrets every bad thing he does.
And Jace is actually a well-written character that doesn't, like, 180. He just kind of descends further and further into, like, bad decisions.
Yeah, but he, like, understands and considers his bad decisions. He's like, wow, okay, let's maybe rethink things and do something that'll do a good eventually, maybe.
Yeah, it's a whole other thing about Ruby, but essentially, I don't understand this comparison, and I just encountered it a lot when I've been, like, building up for this video that eventually may come out, hopefully.
Maybe.
Yeah. And it's really frustrating, but I like how Jace does all this stuff, and it's like, it's good. He regrets things. He pushes himself too far, and like, he has consequences for his actions, and there's like development on them, which is weird to say. It's like basic shit, but if you see that Ruby video eventually, you'll understand. It's a fucking nightmare.
It's pretty bad. Yeah, I watched it some of the later seasons I watched with him, so I'll just say it's pretty bad.
What happens next in Arcane?
What happens next in Arcane?
Have sparse notes.
We kind of cut after he just goes plop. The screen cuts to black, and then it comes back with Jace like investigating the damage. As the kid like breathes his final breath, it goes like, and then dies. And he looks up and he notices all of the workers and the surprising amount of children workers here. And he just says, no, he doesn't say anything yet. He doesn't say that yet. That's how we start next episode. He just kind of looks around, and then we cut to Caitlyn in the shower, just like thinking about Vi. And I really like how she uses her like investigative photographic memory to just like reminisce about Vi instead of actually to solve a mystery. She uses her it's really cool.
Because it's the same flashback from episode 4 where it does like the black and white like kind of motion blur memory.
Yeah, how she can recreate things.
So she does it just to like remember her face one last time and longing for her in the shower. If this doesn't like, because people will deny things about being gay or not, this is like pretty definitive. Like, I think it's romantic.
Yeah,
because
it's
whatever.
Pretty heavily implied.
The blood on her leg like reminds her of it too. She looks down and like the water has like opened her wound again. It's a cool shot. Also because Caitlyn's naked. That's pretty cool too.
That's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Dude, women, am I right?
Am I right?
It's so good. Women are great, dude.
Yeah. And then she gets out of the shower. She's kind of like drying herself off. She looks up in the mirror, kind of like longingly, like just thinking still. And then she notices there's something on the mirror. And as the fog, like the steam kind of clears, we see Jinx's motif. And she goes like, and then we cut to end of the episode.
Yeah, it's egregious, like cliffhanger bait at the end of an episode, but I like it because I mean this was released as like a dump, so you could go to the next episode.
Yeah, I don't think cliffhangers are inherently bad.
They aren't, but it's like if you do like a weekly show and you cliffhanger on something like that, I think it's really cheesy. However, they released this in a batch of 3, so I excuse it. You know what I mean? Like it was implied, like it gets you to watch the next episode immediately, and it has the impact, but it's not like modern day. Weekly TV is not like a thing anymore, really. Yeah. You don't need anything to keep you invested till next week, and I feel like cliffhangers are kind of archaic. They can still be done pretty well.
I disagree with that.
with the intention, like end of episode cliffhangers like that, with like a character like implied death, right?
I still think it gives you like something to hold on to. I think suspense is fun, and I think that's where we differ. Is you kind of
I love suspense.
Well,
Just
yeah.
to clarify,
Well, no, like
it's when it's like the stupid suspense.
Do you think this was one of those?
It was borderline. Because I don't like when things will be like, does the character die? They're in danger. Oh no! And then it's just like left in suspense. Like if we had cut at where the child falls off and is dead, and is clearly like it leaves you with like an impact moment. I like that a lot.
I don't know. I like these suspense moments because it helps build, like, get me excited for the next episode, even if it won't come out for another week. It keeps my excitement about a show up. I think. I think they're actually pretty, not awful and not good, but I think they can be done bad too. I agree with that, but I don't think they're archaic in any way.
I like the suspense moments for like an end of production thing. Like we have one at the season 1 finale that we'll get to. I like that one actually. And I like it when it's in the middle of an episode and we cut away for something, because it's like you have it in your back of your mind while you're watching. But I don't like in the sense of like mid-season end of episode, like, you know, you have a moment where someone is like, it's a very implied like cheap thing where it's like, could they die? But like, why would they do it off screen kind of thing? And like cut in the, it seems like whenever there's like an off-screen suspense death cut for the next episode, it never happens. That's what bothers me about it, I think. That's it.
I never really took this as a death cut. It's more of just like an occurrence is happening with the two of them. Especially because Caitlyn is competent enough to handle herself usually.
But she's naked in the shower.
That's fair.
And it's wet.
That's fair.
And she leaves bombs. It's. I think it's implied that Caitlyn blows up and dies is the subtext.
I never got that as the subtext.
So it's like just the idea of like super danger of like this character could die. I hate that shit. Anyways, that's all that was on that. When she was in the shower though, Caitlyn, before we move on from it, I did like how it cut between like the shower and the rain.
Yes, that was really cool.
That was a cool like fade between. Where she's like crying in the shower and like the shower hits on the ground and then like it's the rain hitting on the ground outside.
Or was it her tears hitting the ground? You can't tell because it's in the shower.
Oh, you're so mysterious.
Ooh. I like a little mystery. I like cliffhangers. Ooh.
I love mystery and cliffhangers. Ooh. Oh, I'm Nick. I love when characters fake die. That's my favorite thing.
Oh, I'm Nick. I love having a different opinion. Why are you talking to yourself?
You're like talking to yourself, idiot. Why are you talking to yourself? Ooh. I hate this show, but I love it. I'm gonna miss this, man.
So yeah, no. Well, we're not done yet. We got a season 2 coming up.
Oh, and an episode 9.
Oh, you cool?
Right
We got
now.
one of those to talk about.
Woo!
Yeah. So episode 9.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Good ending. Good ending. Good.
Real good.
Good man.
It was really surprisingly really good. I mean, it's the last episode, so you know shit goes down obviously, but I was surprised that it held up. Like I thought it was gonna fall short at some point, but it never did.
Yeah, this entire episode was great. I loved. I think everything about this was great. I don't remember any particular problems. So we.
I mean, I don't ever think about like if it has no problems, it's good.
Oh yeah, no. I was just thinking, there's nothing that would make people like, oh no, wait, there's this. There are some scenes that were problematic in this show, I think, but we've discussed all of them up to this point, I think.
I hate the word problematic so much, you have no idea.
I use a lot of words.
But let's not go into that. We've gone so far off track.
So Jace is looking over the body, the dead body, a corpse, if you will, of the kid. And this is when Vi walks in. She kind of like, it wasn't your fault. You know, he signed up for this. And Jace just says, nah, we're done. I am a part of this now. I'm not killing more children or more people, pretty much. I don't really want to do that. Like, I don't want to do this with my own hands to stop Silco. And Vi is just like, they're going to die, period, because of Silco, and we can stop that suffering if we fight him. And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, "Give me back my gauntlets," and they have this standoff, which is like, "No, you got to take them back." They start. He gets his hammer ready. She puts her fists up,
I
and
was
then
so excited by this, by the way.
that
Like,
they might fight.
incredibly excited. I was like, they're gonna fight. It's gonna be sick. Jace and Vi, they just fought like together, and now they're gonna fight each other. Oh shit! And then they just didn't.
Yeah, sad. I think Jace is just like, that's enough violence and possibly death for today. So he kind of just quits.
It's your
on
problem
it. It's
now.
just like,
You
just
just keep
keep
them.
the fucking gloves.
I hope though that it's a teaser for a season 2 fight eventually, because that'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
I don't know about the lore.
She's. I don't know if I want to spoil anything.
All right.
So as they walk away and it fades to black, it kind of I think they like walk past something and like it kind of swipes, and now we have like Silco and Sevika are checking out the damage of the mine. As
Oh yeah, what happens is because I wrote it down. Vi punches the shimmer tank that's full, and then after the opening, we cut back to Silco in front of it, like, and it's empty.
That's what happened. I didn't write down when the opening happened a lot of the times. So,
I didn't either. This was the one time I did.
yeah, it's cool though, where like
It's really cool.
just like opening times past were the same place. It's kind of like what happened with the bridge, I think, right? Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Ripoff Moira is just like, Silco, this was my kid.
Yeah.
And I kind of forgot how he responded, but he's just like, one of many. And
Same. He's just generic bad guy shit. It's like, but for the Empire, there's no greater sacrifice. There's but one on the pile, or whatever.
Yeah, skulls for the Skull Throne.
Yeah, something. You're nerd shit. You can make up one.
Yeah,
I believe in you.
and we go to Best Boy, just crying over. I think her name was Sky, his assistant.
Yeah.
That is just dust. He's just like crying over the glasses she left behind. And he like picks up her journal and he reads it, and just like he reads about all that, how much she cared about him and looked up to him, and it's just like, holy shit. And he never noticed, because you got to stay on that grind set. Can't really notice much else other than that.
I think he also, to an extent, thought he was unlovable. I kind of get that vibe from him.
Yeah.
Where he's just like, I'm like disfigured. I can't walk, and I'm like sick and going to die. So it's like, who could ever love me?
Yeah. Also, the path he is going down will also make him unlovable. Where it's like,
Yeah.
he's seen what this process will turn him into with his leg, and he's like, they're gonna hate me after what I become, but I must do this. But then he like picks up a chair and he's gonna slam it down on the hex core, and he's just like thinking about it, and then he just like throws the chair down, and as he walks away, the hex core kind of like sends some weird jolt to him, and he like falls down in pain and almost passes out. And he's linked. You can tell he's linked to the core now.
It's part of him. Yeah.
Yeah. Then cut back to even more mommy time. As Mel's mom is talking with, she's drinking wine, and Mel approaches her, just knocks the wine out of her hand, and splashes all over like the hot boy's teen. I don't know how old he is. The hot guy.
Boy toy.
That's why I said boy. Yes. And she knocks it out of her hand. It just splashes his shirt. It's like, dude, what the fuck? It's pretty funny.
And there's like a double take on it too, where it does like a double cut for it or something, where it like replays. I think, where she's knocking it out.
I don't remember. But then she sends him and the guard off. As Mel is like yelling that she needs to stay out of her business. And Mel's mother just tells her that their family is in trouble. The people that killed her brother will also kill them, and that they need the Hextech weapons to save their family. And she really drills in how important her family is. She's like, I would burn down the world to protect this family.
Yeah, and also like she reveals that she didn't send Mel away out of like any desire of like I hate you. It was like I love you too much. You make decisions hard.
Yeah, you make me weak.
I have to send you away so I can protect you. That kind of thing.
Yeah. Was that this scene? Did I write that down?
Yeah, I mean, it was where I wrote it. I don't know if it was.
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
this
that was this scene. I just didn't write it down. I really like the framing of this painting, where. What was this? The framing scene where we see the painting on the boat. I think this may have been the scene where. Let me Control F Mel, just to see if this is the scene or another scene.
I think it's later.
No, it's later. But for now, we get to see as Mel's mother's like, you're gonna come back to Noxus, and the scene kind of like cuts as they're both standing in front of. I think that's the Immortal Bastion with like all the ships at it, which is the Noxian capital pretty much. It's like the pier, which is cool symbology that comes back later, which we'll talk about it then. But then we cut to Victor, just like sitting overlooking the river when he was a kid, as he like dumps down the ashes. He's like, I didn't know where you wanted to go, Mel, but this place was special to me. And he attempts to jump off to kill himself, as Jace walks in and says the exact same thing that Victor said to him. When
Am I interrupting something?
Yeah, when Victor
I love it.
interrupted Jace when he was trying to kill himself is so good.
So good. I am all caps. I'm just like, it's the reverse. It's the reverse.
It's pretty good. I've enjoyed a lot. I really like how they then reminisce about just being students with each other, and they just have a good time thinking of, man, things were so good and simple back then.
Where did it all go wrong?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Yeah.
And then Victor like looks at the hammer and he's like, you're gonna have to destroy it. And he's like, yeah, I know, I gotta break the hammer. And he's like, no, you gotta break the hex core.
Promise me.
Yeah, he's like, you're gonna do it, right? And so.
And I love Victor's quote at the end here. In the pursuit of great, we failed to do good.
Yes.
It's
so
one
good.
of those. It's kind of cheesy, but it's just a really powerful quote. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I think characters that have
Beautiful.
like that have these experience or are like close to death or like have these grand things that have happened or are going to happen, like have the right to say like super cheesy lines. Well, it's like this is a man approaching his death, and it's like he's earned the right to say some cheesy stuff.
The line between cheesy and memorable is very thin in my mind.
Oh, definitely.
So yeah.
Yeah, we end the scene there, and then we go to Silco and Sevika just chatting, and the Kim Barons walk in. And the Kim Barons, they've had enough of Silco's shit, and Silco is just kind of talking about, what kept us together before we had all this money, before we were an empire, was we had loyalty. And he keeps talking about loyalty as Sevika is like walking around behind him, and it's framed up like Sevika is going to kill him. And as they say,
like Moira and Finn, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Just to clarify, that's who's in the room.
They're the only two important Kim Barons.
The only two that matter, anyways.
Yeah. And Moira barely even matters. Finn barely even matters, to be honest.
Finn matters because he has a name that I remember. Moira does not.
I don't even
She's
think
just
she got
there.
named. Maybe once.
Ugh.
I think when Silco was giving his condolences about her son, she got a name. But Moira it is. Moira it is now. But yeah, so she walks behind, she puts the blade down, or like she gets the blade ready, and she then slashes, and we see that she slashed over Silco and cut Finn's throat.
Yeah. He like ducks almost too.
Yeah.
Like
I think he like freaks out a little. I don't remember the scene. It may have been just like, oh, yeah, it wasn't me, right?
Silco just kind of says,
were you tempted?
Were you tempted by him? And he's like, for a fool like that, nah.
But
Sevika
there will
is just
be
like,
more.
he ain't shit.
But I still like her line where she's like, but there will be there'll be many others, where she's like, you kind of got to keep my, my loyalty, right? Like it almost feels like her saying my loyalty isn't absolute. Like if you don't offer, like if you go too far off the deep end, I probably will not follow you.
Right. It's like you gotta earn what you are.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter who it is, just don't be an idiot.
Yeah. And the other important part of the scene is we see a letter on his desk with Jace's family crest on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we cut to him and Jace meeting on like a wall overlooking the ocean as they kind of talk about a peace offering is what they're meant to talk about, but they start off talking about like, why did we become a city in the first place? Just Piltover and the Undercity together. Like, what did we start as? And they're like, well, the reason we started this was to protect ourselves from what was beyond the walls. And that was pretty cool, I think. Then they get down to brass tacks, where they talk about.
I like the cannons at sunset, like setting.
Exactly.
Like where they're just on
really
like
good.
a cannon wall at sunset. It's nice.
This, I think, is more symbolic of like the dawn of a new era.
Right.
The other one, not so much. This one is definitely the dawn of a new era. Or like the sunsetting of the current era as they're making peace proposals for the next era.
Yeah. This is like the final confrontation deal kind of a thing. Because I think it's at sunrise at the very end when we're overlooking like the office or something.
Oh, you mean the very final scene?
Council room? The very final scene, I think it's sunrise.
That's at like midnight.
I thought there was a sun. Whatever.
No, it was the moon. The rocket flies over. Like, remember it flies with the moon in the background?
Yeah, I thought that was the sun in my memory for some reason.
No, it was red, so that's probably why.
Well, there we go. Yeah, they meet up. They're like discussing like civilly, which I was so surprised by.
I really like that though.
They would even be willing to meet like that.
Jace is just like, look, let's cut the bullshit. Like, we could. Big shows of trust from both sides though. I think Silco is like, the boy won't kill me, and Jace is just like, I'm tired. I'm willing to risk it to meet with Silco. And so Silco offers his demands, and they are just incredibly high. But even with how high they are, Jace is
full
like
free movement.
Yeah, and even using the gates that they created. But even then, Jace is like, I will accept this, or I will almost. He pretty much absolutely says, I will accept this proposition if you give me Jinx, and like that.
Like no more Shimmer.
Yeah,
no more Jinx.
Yeah, but that is such an interesting dilemma, and I love that they put that on Silco. Was I have to choose this thing I fought my entire life for, or my like weird family situation, and so
yeah. It gets explored later too. Like this is not the scene where he really explores the dilemma, but it's like a good introduction.
It weighs on it. Like even in the moment, he's like, "Oh no, I have to. This is something I have to consider now."
Because like the other two ones, like his other propositions where it's like no more Shimmer, he's like, yeah, I only needed it for this.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, like there was a second one that was like
full sovereignty,
hand waved like that. Yeah,
like they are their own nation. They become the nation of Zon then.
Yeah, where like Jace's demands, he was like, whatever, and then he's like, and we want Jinx in jail. He's like, wait, what? Yeah. She killed a bunch of people. She's got to go to jail. And
yeah, and he's like, no, take me instead. And he's like, no, you are the ringleader. You need to be there to uphold
They need
this. You. Yeah, so good.
It's great.
And then we cut to Heimerdinger and Echo as they enter the firelights the safe haven. Big tree. And Heimerdinger is just like surprised. He's like, how did you accomplish all of this in like such a little time without like your short lifespan? And then Echo says something along the lines of, well, when your life's at stake, you'd be surprised at all the things you can accomplish. And then he's curious about like what's with this design? Why is everything so like non-utilitarian? And he just says, they make a big display of how like grand and just how lively the place is. And he's like, you don't just need utility, you need happiness,
Like, it's not about just surviving, it's living.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he says, I think, specifically.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was it.
So, Yeah, it was like a short scene. It was all right. It didn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but it was nice to just see like Heimerdinger's perspective opened up, and he's like, oh, humans, they're not so bad. They can do things.
Pretty cool.
I'm surprised that Jace himself didn't like open up Heimerdinger's eyes by literally reinventing the wheel of magic in like his own lifetime.
I think he was too busy worrying about the implications of that than to really consider who made it. He's like,
yeah,
like it's such a red flag to him that everything else fell to the background.
I was just surprised. It's like, it's such an impressive feat to me compared to like, we made hoverboards and a big tree. But I don't know. Heimerdinger, it's like,
it's because it's
probably because he's at a low point.
I think it's because of the little things that matter.
Yeah, and maybe it's just because like he's at a low point of like he's not on the council anymore. His mindset has to change. It has to shift, and that's why he's open to like that. Maybe that's why it was kind of shocking a little bit that this is what was the one that like won him over on humans.
Yeah. And then from there we just cut to a statue of Vander as Silco is just sitting here talking to this statue, and he's talking about Jinx and just like how daughters undo us or something. He says something along those lines as he's just like, man, family, like talking about the importance of family.
He says, is there anything so undoing as a daughter? Like talking to Vander about Vi. And he like does a whiskey pour out for him. Well, yeah, but like Vander had Vi.
Vander had both of them.
And kind of Powder, but like Jinx is like her own thing, basically. But the idea is like they're both fathers.
Yeah.
They're brothers that are fathers and adoptive fathers at that too.
Exactly.
And like Silco has this weird respect for Vander still, where he's like, he pours out like some of his whiskey in his fountain because it's like a statue of Vander that he's sitting by.
I think it's his newfound respect as an adoptive father. He's like, oh, so this is what you had to go through. I mean, I respect you so much more for doing it.
Because just Silco is like just considering all his options, and he's just like, man, this is so hard. Everything I've ever wanted, like I could have never imagined getting like this all I wanted without bloodshed, but this literally also, even though ultimately Jinx being gone benefits him on paper because she's just a wild card, and it would be better if she was in jail after like the peace. He loves her and is like a fallible human.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, like, we then cut to Jinx. Like, we slowly pan over and we see Jinx is behind the statue listening to him say that line, and we get to see her eyes are not purple after the shimmer operation.
Mm-hmm. And like she's in Vander's shadow. It's like some cool like lighting symbolism. She's like in the shadow of everyone's problems yet again. Like it seems like no one cares about her, right?
Yeah, and
like,
also the line that Silco says, there's nothing as undoing as a daughter, can be taken in multiple ways, and I think she takes it in the negative connotation. Like, this girl is undoing me. Whereas what he means is,
it's so cool because like yet again Jinx is in the position of like she ruined one family, got a second chance, and now she thinks she's ruining another one. Of like another father like I've disappointed and basically messed up. I fucked up.
Yeah.
I love it.
From there, we go to Sevika drinking at a bar, and Vi enters as like some fucking annoying guy.
This is like Vander's old bar too, right?
That's kind of where Silco's whole operation has been. It's up in the
I just wanted to bring back, it wasn't like a bar, it was the bar.
Yeah, it was
like where it all started. We're back at here again.
Yeah. Some annoying guy just being annoying notices that it's a Vi, and Sevika just says everyone out. This is between us. And we get an action sequence of them fighting, and it's a good fight. I like the one sequence where it's like mid-fight they like pause, like Sevika's like leaning against a couch, and Vi goes and just like drinks some alcohol and just throws the glass, and she just easily dodges it. But it's a cute little moment. It's really funny.
There's a couple of those. The weird thing to me was that like the guy put on like a Western dual music at the jukebox, and then like it became the background like diegetic music. It's like, why the fuck is he just like at a bar and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna put on the good, the bad, the ugly soundtrack.
Well, this guy seemed weird enough to like that, though. This guy was clearly didn't have normal tastes.
He was licking a man. I don't know if that equates to like an
He was
appreciation
weird.
for Western media.
He was weird, so I will excuse him doing something weird.
It just like, I don't know, like it was weird. That was one of the things I didn't buy, but
I thought that one was all right.
I liked, all right, mister. So the jukebox, I like how like it spins the record and then it goes into Vi's gauntlet, like to start the fight.
Yes,
like
that's
spins and it's disorienting. And then at a certain point, we also cut to outside the bar, where it shows all the carnage of all the Silco guards just busted up and on the
Kim
ground.
guards that she managed to just beat all these Kim guards
to get into the bar to fight Sevika.
And it really helps sell how like good of an opponent or how big of an opponent Sevika is in comparison to regular like even people hopped up on Shimmer. She's just such an incredibly efficient fighter.
And she like doesn't even use full Shimmer. She's just like she gets little micro doses.
Yeah.
You know?
Eventually
the sword. The sword is cool.
Yes.
I don't think we talked about the sword yet.
Well, we were getting there.
It is a flaming laser sword.
Yeah, when she first uses it, she like slashes through a table thrown at her, and it sends an entire like slash forward. It's kind of like in Legend of Zelda, you know, when you get like your full hearts and you slash forward, it sends like a wave.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that.
This is my favorite fight scene in Act 3.
Really?
It's just a really cool one-on-one.
It gets really cool once they manage to clash with both the one. Oh well, first of all, she manages to break one of the gauntlets with the blade. Then Vi gets her ass beat down, and she's getting up from the ground. She sees like a hallucination of Vander, and he starts quoting some things he said before, and kind of just like not just quotes, but he just starts encouraging her as she like remembers him.
He's like in a holy light too, by the way. Like the framing is that like she's in the dark and Vander like almost has an angelic presence to him.
Yeah, it's really cool. The lighting is incredible.
And she's like, he's at the bar. I don't remember if he was like bartending or if he was just sitting at the bar. He's just, yeah, it's like his bar. His spirit has like, you know, still within, like it resides within the bar still, and because it's also kind of like her home.
Yeah.
And he's just like, you know, you're gonna sit here and take it. Like, you know,
well,
you gotta fight to the end.
He also says things like, she needs you. They all need you. Like,
yeah.
People need your help. Beat this girl up and then let's go help them.
I think the first time he said that, he was talking about, like, Powder.
No, I think when they said like, she needs your help, it's definitely Powder.
Yeah. I mean, talking about, like, in Act 1 when he said something similar. I was thinking maybe in Act 3 it meant more like, you know, she took it more as, you know, Caitlyn. Maybe
I still think it's probably Powder, because Vi's whole mentality is I can fix Powder, because she still thinks of her as Powder. She's like I can bring her back, like things can be the way they were, and so I think that's Vander, or her like hallucination of Vander being like, yes, go, she needs you. Because this is also post her walking out on Caitlyn and giving up on her relationship with Caitlyn. She doesn't know Caitlyn's been captured.
Yeah, but I mean, I could have also thought of it as like fighting for like keeping that peace or something. I don't know. It probably is Powder. I don't remember exactly what he says a ton of, but it's just a really good scene. Yeah. That's all you really need to know.
Yeah, then
it's just like a pep talk thing.
After that, there's a really cool scene where they kind of like clash. And the lights go out because the clash sends like a shockwave, and the rest of the scene is like the rest of the fight is a bunch of slow motion special effect, like only the special effects of the heat from the sword and her gauntlets are lighting up, and as they clash they send sparks.
There's like a gradient too where like it almost looks like a painting as like it's the light comes on and off.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Love the lighting. The colors are fantastic. Everything's fantastic. And eventually she manages to beat her down and then rip off her arm.
Her fucking arm comes out of the socket, the robot one. Yeah, she's not like super cruel.
Yeah.
It's dismemberment, but it's cool because it's robots, and apparently that's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's not violent. And she gets thrown into a pillar, like upside down, smashed.
I think
into
she's
pillar.
thrown into the jukebox, isn't she? That's how it
Might
ends.
be the jukebox. But is she dead? Like,
No,
we
we
know?
see her. We see her at the end, smoking a cigar and in a seat at the bar, like when the
that's
final
right,
song plays.
Because for some reason I thought she was dead. I missed that part.
Yeah, and then Vi goes to like the bar, and she's kind of like panting after all of it. And then like as she leans down, we see Jinx behind her, and she just knocks her out.
She's like, "Way to go, sis!" And then she like pistol whips her in the back of the head.
I love how creepy and how sneaky she's being now. It's really cool. Where it's like you never know.
And the purple eyes.
Oh, incredible!
Glowing. She's scary.
The light in it is she's in the darkness, and just like the illumination from her purple eyes is great.
And it's just terrifying.
Yeah. And then we get to see council meeting time. Jace saying some real inflammatory stuff now. It's just like, look, we're all a bunch of shit leaders, all right. I think we should finish the council. Let's abolish the council. I've proposed peace with Silco. The Undercity will become an independent state. They will have trade routes, and all of we cut to like slow motion. I think this is when the song starts, right? No, this is not nearly.
No, that's way later.
It's way later.
But yeah, he's just like, I don't give a shit what you think, is what he says specifically.
It's like, well, excuse me for saying this, man, but I don't give you shit what you think. To like Caitlyn's mom.
Yeah. And so they all start yelling at him. My favorite thing is that the old man with the puzzle is the first one to get angry. I don't know why. It's funny, but he just seems like the least likely person to be angry about anything.
Well, he was super angry at like when he got the puzzle. Like he got the puzzle, someone else gave him nuts. He's like, "What the fuck is this? I'm allergic to these. Don't you know?"
He doesn't seem like the first person to like understand what's happening, is what I was thinking. It's still funny when he gets out of the chair, though. I just like, he's an old man. He's weird.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Old men are funny. That's it.
I can agree with that. That's something we can agree on.
I'm glad.
One of the few things, apparently.
Finally, in Act 3, we come together. Old men funny.
Old men funny.
Breaking news.
Stop the presses.
I think that's everything, because we get into like this one final scene.
Yeah, I
right?
think we get to the final confrontation. As we cut to Vi waking up, and she's tied up in this chair as Jinx,
best scene in the whole show.
Yeah, she's captured her.
15-minute sequence.
Yeah, she's captured her, and it's at the factory that Powder blew up in Act 1. So like it all comes back round.
I was wondering why there were like these cool like purple veins over everything. I didn't realize it was the factory because it just was like in dark lighting the entire time.
Yeah, at one point we cut back and we see the rubble, and it's like she mentions like it's all coming back round or something. Like she talks about it at some point that made me remember, or that made me notice it was the factory.
Yeah, I remember a little bit now because it's like we at the very end we cut to like an exterior shot, and yeah, that's where it is. Yeah, it's the factory.
Really cool.
So good for their characters. It's like where it all began. Like it went wrong in episode 3.
Mm-hmm. Like where Jinx was created, that's where Jinx's final like decision lies. So she kind of talks about how Silco raised him and like what Silco wanted her to be, and she says like Silco thinks he was the one who made Jinx, but he wasn't. It was you. That Vi was the one that created Jinx. And it's really, really cool, real emotional scene. And up through this entire sequence, like you just don't know what's going to happen with Jinx. Like
you're
she's
just like, what the fuck
nuts.
are you doing? The most like loose cannon, like insane thing. Like, because we're still at the point where it's just like Vi in this like interrogation room, right?
Yeah.
You're just like, what? There's just like all this purple vein shit. You're like, what kind of evil dungeon is this?
Yeah,
it's wild.
Wild. So she like starts talking about Caitlyn, and then she places down this platter with a cover on it. Just like, you know, she's afraid it's gonna be Caitlyn's head.
We forgot to cut to because she like turns on some lights, right?
Oh, and yeah, she's at a dinner table.
Yeah. Vi gets turned around in her chair and pushed up. There's a whole dinner table.
Oh yeah.
Jinx has set up like this massive dinner table. We see Silco tied up.
Well, not yet.
And like, I thought we did.
Not yet.
All
we
right.
just see the dinner table and no one's at it, and she's like, it feels. We might be introduced now. I don't have the specifics written down, but we're not introduced to Caitlyn yet because there's a
I just remember we see like Clagger and Milo, like the puppets, at the table. The candles turn on. Silco is on the opposite side of the table, like at the head of the table.
I really like how she lights the candles. I don't know if you remember, but she just takes a lighter, she just throws it, and like as it spins by, it lights all the candles.
Yeah, she just throws it like a shuriken or something, and it lights every single candle across the room. And so I like how there's like the imagery of Vi's at one head of the table and Silco's at the other, where they're like the two heads of the family at opposing sides.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? They're two heads of this table. They're also kind of like two sides of the same coin because they're at the same table. They're both connected by Jinx and Powder. It's a really, really good scene. Like, we haven't even really started it yet. It's just like the framing that we initially get on. I don't remember if there was any food on the table. I think it was set up with like plates and stuff, but nothing
really.
on it
just
yet.
Like garnish around like just all of the aesthetic of the table. But then
and the puppets are there too. Yeah.
Then she like starts talking about Caitlyn. And she brings out the platter, she lays it down, and then she's like slowly is like reveals and she like lifts it up, and it's just a cupcake with the gemstone on it. Just like, oh, I'm not that crazy. And then she wheels Caitlyn in. I really like the suspense that they created here.
I was like, genuinely, I like that kind of suspense. Because I was like, maybe, like, I know the lore in terms of like she's a playable character, so I don't think Caitlyn dies, but like, what the fuck is gonna be under that platter? It could be her head. I don't know. Maybe she gets resurrected with magic later or something. I do like, by the way, it's a cupcake because Vi calls Caitlyn Cupcake.
Well, the reason that they
ties back in.
The reason they keep mentioning like Cupcake is because Caitlyn has an ability in League. I don't know if I told you about this before.
Oh, she does? I didn't know this.
Yeah, where she lays down, her W is she lays down a trap, and it's just a cupcake and a bear trap. It's really funny.
Oh, that's really funny that it ties back into Caitlyn like that. I knew the association where it was like, yeah, cupcake. I get it. I'm like, oh, that's so funny because like Jinx doesn't know that. It's just like a related like funny thing that's just on the table.
It just happened to be a coincidence. It's really funny.
It's great.
She then asks Vi, like, which chair should I sit in? And she reveals that there are two chairs, a Jinx chair and a Powder chair. And then she gives Vi a gun, and she just says, like, make her disappear, and Powder will come back. So Vi has to kill Caitlyn in order for Powder to come back.
It's such a really cool... Like, this made me speechless, where I was just like... It is literally insane person, but it is the most believable, like, insane person scene I think I've seen in a long time. Not necessarily that like it's realistic, air quote, but like it really feels like there's an internal logic to everything where it's not just wacky crazy. It's like she is like in this own fucked up way, like make everything go back to normal. We'll kill Caitlyn, my replacement. She's gone, and then I'll replace the replacement, and I'll be back. It'll be Powder, and you know it's fine. Like the whole idea of like the two chairs thing too, symbolizing two different people.
Exactly.
You can really get an idea of like in her brain, she does not connect the two people. Jinx is a repression of Powder, and Powder died when Jinx was born. They're fighting for control, and it's like, who do you want in the captain's seat? And like I think the Jinx seat is like covered in spikes and is black, whereas like the Powder seat is kind of like a normal chair.
It's like covered in. It has. I got like crow symbology from it. I think crows are like in the show are symbolic of her, which is weird because in game they're symbolic of another character. So that's why there's been fan theories about whether or not whether or not Swain will enter the scene or not. I don't think it. Well, Noxus has been introduced, so who knows? We'll get to predictions later about that. But anyways, Silco kind of like starts making noise, and then Jinx is just like, do you have something to say about this? And you know, he's been gagged this whole time. So is Caitlyn. But he rips. She takes off the gag, and he's just screaming like, "No, she's lying. She's wrong. Everything she's saying is a lie. Caitlyn is your replacement, and I am the only one who truly loves you and won't betray you."
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, Jinx throws like a glass, like a wine glass, at Caitlyn, like as she like starts making noise or something.
Yeah, she's like, "Shut up." And I think she takes the pistol back too, and she like shoots the Milo doll. She's like, "Shut the fuck up, we're talking."
That's what happens.
Stop.
She shoots the Milo glass, and it like slides over to Caitlyn.
Oh, it's so good. Where it's just like she's breaking down. She still sees them as real people. Vi's really getting an idea of what like Jinx and Powder is like left.
Yeah.
Because like Vi, before the whole dinner scene, I forgot to mention, she says like, it's just me and you, Jinx, or whatever. Like, we can fix this. I will never leave you. And she's like, all right, put it to the test.
Yeah.
And like has this whole thing set up to like prove her loyalty.
A whole ultimatum.
Wacky shit. And it's just like the environment really makes it, but it's like, oh, it's so good. I love
it. This whole time that they're talking, like after she shoots it, I think this is when Silco says that he won't give her up. He's made the decision that he'll give up like his nation of Zon because he loves her and that she is his daughter. And
he's telling the truth too, probably.
Oh yeah, no, this seems like there's no deceit. Like after that scene at the Vander statue, I'm completely convinced this is what he wants. And then we hear a gun like rev up, and we see that Caitlyn has escaped because of the glass that was broken. And she's revving up the gun at Jinx, telling her to like...
Yeah, she cut her rope restraints and ungagged herself, all that.
Yeah, just tell her to drop the gun. Which she does. And we kind of have this standoff moment as Jinx does this whole like puppy eyes thing again. And Vi is telling Caitlyn, don't shoot her, she's my sister. And eventually the standoff breaks as Jinx gets this like, devilish smile and just rushes her. Because she's imbued with Shimmer now. So she is...
Yeah, she gets super fast funny power.
And I love the way her eyes leave like a trail.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
It's like headlights.
Yeah. Oddly, you mentioned that. It reminds me of like Initial D, the way they did their lights.
Yeah. Straight up, she is like a car in the night. It's cool.
Yeah. And as she gets the gun back, she like revs it up at Caitlyn. And both Vi and Silco are like shouting at her now. And she has this super introspective moment as like everyone's screaming. Or just everyone's yelling at her like what to do. She doesn't know what to do. She's like feels trapped. Do you have anything written down about this?
Just that she was like going crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have stuff written later.
Okay. Yeah, and so eventually she loses it and she just starts shooting to like just make it stop. And we have this really kind of like drawn out, really good suspense again. As like who was shot. We see like someone has been shot. There's a chair with bullet holes, and the chair spins around to reveal it was Silco.
Mm-hmm.
And she runs, and she's just like apologizing. She's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." And as his dying breath, he's just saying that like he doesn't really regret anything, and that I remember like his last words. So like, "You are perfect." Like, and I took that as like, Silco sees her as perfect the way she currently is.
Yeah.
Like, Jinx is perfect. You don't have to go back to being Powder.
Just like a full acceptance of like, because he didn't like Jinx a ton also. Like, he accepted her and loved her as his daughter, but also she interfered in a lot of ways where he was frustrated with her. So it was like his last dying, like, "You're perfect. I love you."
Well, he's also,
as you want.
This whole thing, like, all of them are seeing the struggle she has. So he's trying to help ease her mind. She's like, "You're perfect." He may even be saying, "No matter what you choose, you're perfect." Or he may just be saying, "Jinx is perfect. You don't have to change if you don't want to." Who knows?
It could be anything.
Yeah. And then Jinx slowly gets up from that, and then she goes and she sits down in the Jinx chair, and she turns to Vi, and she says, "You know, I'm not the only one who's changed. You've changed too, so we can't go back to the way things were, since you have also changed, pretty much."
Her pose in this chair, I think, is in a lot of promotional art, but it's really iconic.
Exactly.
It's like a really good shot, and I understand why they chose it now, because it's like there's the symbology of the chair specifically too that like you don't really understand from the shot.
Yeah, if you were just to
But
see
also,
a screenshot,
like,
you wouldn't really. Why? Yo, it's she's sitting in a chair with her name on it. Okay.
yeah, she has like this really evil look on her face, like this very serious yet like menacing look.
Yeah.
It really sells like I'm going to become the villain that like I was meant to be, not in a literal sense that she thinks she's a villain, but just like
she's lost all in her mind. She's lost all family. The Vi she knew is gone. This is a different Vi. Just like this is a different.
Silco's
powder.
dead.
Yeah, my family is dead now. The last family that I had is dead. The Vi I knew died a long time ago, like when she entered Stillwater.
It is her literal Joker 2019 moment
God.
upcoming.
Yeah, and she's basically
I'm the Joker, baby.
Yeah, just like at the end of Joker 2019 when he shoots Murray. This is basically the very ending act is what that is.
It literally is. I was joking, but it really is.
You were joking, so you were the Joker here? You're the Joker, baby.
Joker?
So then Jinx takes the gemstone from the cupcake, and she puts it in the rocket launcher, and she walks up and she just aims it at the council room, and we see as
very.
Go ahead.
I just want to say very like methodically too. It's like she is fully in control as Jinx. There's no like because she's usually kind of manic in some way.
Yeah,
this is like
twitchy.
The first time in a while we've seen her completely still
Composed.
and just confident in what she is. Yeah.
And we see they've gotten it down to a vote. And Mel removes her family ring and she puts it down, and then she raises her hand to vote in favor of peace as Jinx pulls the trigger on the rocket. And we see it like revving up.
Yeah. It's like all split, by the way, this entire scene between like a hand will go up for peace, the light kicks in, and then like it'll cut back to like another character. It's crazy.
Yeah, so
yeah, if you have it written down, you go ahead.
Sevika smokes a cigar in Silco's room, and just like every time after each of these, we basically see like the rocket fly a bit further. Heimerdinger and Echo are kind of just like nerding out in the safe haven. Singed looks he kind of like looks down at this locket, which we can presume is his daughter, because right before he operates on Jinx, he tells Silco, "I too once had a daughter." So I think this is him looking down at his daughter and just kind of, you know, remembering her. And then we see him look up at a man having chemicals injected into him, and I'll get into what that implies after.
I think I know what that is too, but I didn't notice that before.
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk about that then.
We see Mel's mother, and she's standing in front of the painting I was talking about earlier about the Iron Bastion and the pier at the Iron Bastion, and it's just destroyed. She's just painted over all of it. Just like, you could tell she was just like, I'm rejecting this. And
yeah, it's like orange paint or something, right? Where it's just all over it. Like, literally, like she burned it down because, like, orange fire or whatever.
It was yellow.
Fuck it.
Yeah, she pissed on her family name is what she did.
Ooh, hey, there you go.
And then Vi helps Caitlyn up as they watch the rocket fly over the moon. Also, the entire time, this one of my favorite musical moments of the show. Very somber.
It's really good.
They get Sting. I don't really know a bunch about Sting, but they get him. As the council, the last hand is raised. They all agree to peace. As we see kind of a close-up on Mel's back as like all of the gold that she's wearing kind of lights up, and that she turns to see the rocket, and finally the rocket hits the glass, and the glass shatters in a way so that all the shards point towards the rocket, and all of the shards reflect kind of the like smiling face that is painted onto the rocket. It's such an incredible scene, and then it cuts to black, and that's the end of the season.
My last note is just all in caps. That's where it ends? That's where it ends? Because it's just 4 minutes of credits, and I was like, Nick, there has to be a post-credits scene, right?
No.
Like where we go into the wreckage. There's like a teaser for season 2.
No, he sent me
nothing.
a Discord message. He's like, there's a post credit scene, and I'm like, this ain't Marvel.
It should be like, oh, it ends, and it's just, please, why can't there be like a little more? And I think that's good suspense, like, because you're going into like another season or whatever. You got to end on like a memorable moment. It's not like teasing necessarily like, oh, here's the thing to keep you coming back. It's just like, here's the story could go anywhere, kind of a thing.
I still don't think that. Never mind. I'm not going to go into it.
That's it. It's episode 9. We're done.
Well, there's still some things I thought were weird about that final scene. Like, we kind of...
Oh, yeah?
The council kind of weirdly just started saying yes when they were so avidly against the idea. Like, no one said anything. Mel just raised her hand, and then everyone else did.
I feel like we'll get more of that in season 2.
I think they're all dead. I think Mel is dead, too.
I think we'll get a flashback is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
I think we'll get a flashback is what I'm saying.
I think it's just going to remain an unresolved...
To like the conversation before.
I feel like it's going to remain an unresolved plot point because it's not that big... Or plot hole. Because it's not that big a plot hole.
It's not even really necessarily like a plot hole. It's just kind of unshown. Like
well, you could argue like any plot hole is
contradicting
unshown.
Information. It's just, I don't think it's like a big deal plot hole.
Yeah, I'm not saying it is. That's what most of my complaints aren't big deals.
It's all right.
I'm mentioning something weird that happened, and that, yeah,
it's a little weird.
Also, the guy hanging up in Singe's room. That's gonna be Warwick. we all know it. We've all talked about it. Everyone in the community.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say it was Victor or something.
The Victor's not dead.
Well, I thought you said it was a guy making juices in his room.
It was a guy being injected with juices. I can find because
Victor injected with the juice. He was down with the purple flirt in the Mountain Dew.
Here's the guy hanging.
But Warwick, I have seen pictures of. He has just like needles all in his back. Yeah, that's not a man. That's oh, what? Okay, wait. Actually, specifically,
yeah.
Do we talk about like who this? Because
he just looks up at
specifically. No, his beard and like he kind of looks like a Vander in that shot.
A little bit.
Like actually, he does.
If you want to know, I'm not gonna say who I think it is, but if you want to know with almost certainty who this character is, read just like Warwick's bio, and that pretty much 100% spells out who it is.
Gotcha. Because I think I also remember, like, didn't near the end when he injected himself with like purple, Vander had like claw hands somewhat.
I don't remember.
I think he did a little bit. That is a wild image, though.
Yeah.
How did I not notice
it lasted
that?
like 3 seconds.
I think it's because I looked over to write down, haha, what the fuck is in Singed Locket's loser, haha.
That's his daughter.
And I didn't know.
Presumably. No, I can't really
it's just like, ha, loser. And then I looked back, and then the council was blown up.
Yeah, that lasts for like a second and a half. Like, we don't see much of, like... It actually, like, slide... We don't get to see it. He is pumping chemicals into that. Like, we see a little bit of that. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Arcane.
so... That Arcane. Look at him go.
Look at him go. Anything else you have to say about the show? Oh.
In conclusion, I mean, besides season 2 predictions, if we have any more of those.
Yeah, I have a few.
Really solid season 1. Was impressed that they actually made it this good, because I was expecting it to be, at best, like just something that League of Legends fans were like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And at worst, it was like gonna just,
At worst, it was the Ultramarines movie.
Be shit. Yeah.
Look that up if you want.
It turned out like actually really good, especially for someone that like doesn't like League of Legends at all, and like I don't like reading the lore personally, even in that way. I've heard it has good lore, just not interested in it that way,
Yeah. All right, predictions.
That was it. I have no idea where to go from this. Like, I mean, you can do your brief like season 2 analysis trailer or whatever.
Oh, there's not a whole lot. Basically, the reason this is almost definitely Warwick is because at the end of the season 2 announcement trailer, we hear a noise that is Warwick's passive. It's a noise that happens whenever Warwick's passive activates. W passive, whatever. Um, and so that's Warwick. My predictions for season 2, or kind of rather things I want to see. I kind of want Camille to make an appearance, and I want Piltover to revolve around a fight for power among the houses, and Caitlyn or and Camille being a driving force in that. When it comes to the Undercity, Mundo would always be funny. Twitch would always be funny. Don't think they're gonna make it in. Though if Twitch did make it in, I want Twitch to be that one rat from like the end of episode 1 or maybe episode 2 that Singed was messing with to like show off the power of Shimmer. I want that to be Twitch. That'd be really funny.
He just gets really big.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm a rat. Ah.
Yeah, that's Twitch.
I have no idea about anything about Twitch.
He's funny.
Straight up.
He's funny.
I just know he's a rat.
I want Urgot to make an appearance. I think he'd be really cool. It's super intimidating as an Undercity villain. Who else is there?
You know who I want as someone who doesn't know anything about League of Legends, and it probably won't happen? Tom Kench, baby.
He is.
I want the fish in a top hat.
He is in Bilgewater, probably.
No. He can swim in sewer water.
I always thought it'd be funny if there's the one scene at the end of episode 1 where Deckard is like being interrogated, and that's like the scene where the cat like rubs against his leg. There's a
yeah.
We get to see into the ocean in the background. I wanted to see like Pike swim by just as like a little Easter egg. That'd be really funny. But of course, can't have that.
I just what if Tom Kench got flushed, and he ended up in Zon?
He's big. We're gonna need a big toilet.
Yeah. What if this is like past Tom Kench when he's a baby, and a time skip?
He is like an eternal demon thing.
Oh,
demons are weird in League. But speaking of demons, people people are saying there's like crow symbology and Swain, that Swain might come in. That would be really interesting to see more of Noxus influence. And Swain is part of the big 3 in Noxus. Swain, Darius, and I forget who the third is. They're not a named character. They're like someone that wears a mask. But Swain is like he's the general.
Oh, so a liberal.
What?
He's wearing a mask, so he's a liberal. Don't worry about it. It's a COVID joke. You wouldn't get it.
Oh, okay.
It's ahead of your time.
Ahead of my time, yeah. One day I'll know what that's about.
So dumb.
But Swain is like the general of Noxus, so I don't... Unless there's like an invasion thing happening, I don't think Swain will be a part of this.
Is the boy toy a champion? No. For some reason, Taric pops into my head for some reason.
No. Taric is...
I don't remember who Taric is.
Taric is... I'm going to have to send you a map, and I'm going to have to put a map up on screen to explain this.
Is it like we're in America, Taric's in China, and it's like, he'll be in season 2? It's
maybe
like, why would he
more...
be
I have to look up this map. It might be more like he's at the bottom of... He's like in like Chile.
So it's like, yeah, he's not coming up to like Canada.
All right, so here's the map. Tark's from Targon. He'd have to cross.
Did they name it after him?
What'd you say?
Did they name it after him?
No.
That's a lot of land. Yeah. There's a lot of mountains too.
Oh, those are deserts. Targon is like a big mountain that's like has to do with gods. It's weird. Where if you climb the mountain and then you're tested by the gods, you can become an ascended.
I mean, but look, Bilgewater is like right there. Like Tom Kench could swim over. He could do it.
I quit. Yes, maybe Tom Kench season 2.
Yes. I want funny Top Hat Man. He's funny.
I want my funny list man.
Now see here, we're gonna put you in my belly because I can open my mouth. Because he can eat people and transport them, right?
Yeah, that's an option.
I want him to do that. Who is the least likely? Like, okay, where is Aurelian Soul on this map?
Aurelian Soul is Targon.
Oh, cool. All the cool ones are in Targon. Good to know. Where's Teemo?
Teemo? Bandle
Like,
City
is he
is kind of like another realm or something like that. It's weird.
Good. He's not even in the same universe.
Well, they kind of like appear all over the place. Bandle City is like the yodel whatever.
Just put an anti-Teemo shield around Zaun.
Just Zaun. Piltover can have him.
It ends at the bridge, so there's like a wall, and like Teemo's banging on. He's like, "Please, I want in." I heard they're probably gonna do another Piltover Zaun thing because it's like they already have the assets for like everything, so might as well reuse it for a fast turnaround.
Yeah, because
this show take like a decade or something.
This took 6 years to make. This show was in production for 6 years, which is why it, turned out so good. Because not only was the actual art in production, even the writing was rewritten that many times. Is what I heard.
That's just so wild to me that it turned out this good. Like a company like Riot, as big as Riot, was like, let's take the time and make something good.
Well, to be fair, they hired another company to make it.
Yeah, but under their hiring specifications, they weren't like, you have 2 years, pump it out. They were like, take the time you need,
that's
make
really
it
cool.
good.
It's because they're just completely like funded by skins. So like they did that with all of their projects. They basically were just like, we have sat on so many projects for so long, and I think all of these projects will turn out pretty good. I mean, I wouldn't say Legends, what was it? Ruined King, a League of Legends story, did not turn out nearly as like high production as this. Still pretty all right, I think.
Yeah, I watched you play some of that. It looked all right.
Yeah, it's not like amazing like
one,
Arcane
right?
is. Yeah, it is. It's the first side game that they released. They also released a rhythm game. Featuring.
Wait, is that the one with like Corgi?
Ziggs.
Oh. Good.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about Ziggs' lore is that he played DDR in the arcade. It inspired him to release his own rhythm game.
His whole thing is explosives. Why is he in a rhythm game? There are music-based characters.
Yeah, why would they not give that to Sona?
Yeah, I'm so glad you didn't say Seraphine. I hate
who is that?
Oh my!
She doesn't exist. She's not real.
Thank you.
I've never played League of Legends. I've never heard Nick mention that name in his life. He doesn't hate Seraphine. He just doesn't know who she is. She's not real. Any predictions, by the way?
Oh, I went off. I hope that Piltover becomes a power struggle. Zaun, I hope both sides become a power struggle, as like everyone kind of struggles to rally everyone together. So I think it'll just be a complete mess and just everything is chaos. Jace is definitely gonna Mel is dead. Jace is going to have to come with terms with that. Victor is going to continue as unethical. I think Victor will fully become mechanical by the end of season 2.
Same. I agree with that.
I hope Heimerdinger becomes a bigger part of the story as he's come to understand the Zaunites. Also I hope Zaun becomes a nation. I hope that Heimerdinger comes to understand the Zaunites' perspective. I hope Echo continues to kind of rally the good side of the Undercity and have his time abilities with him and Heimerdinger working together. I expect Heimerdinger to actually become a little I think he'll make some gadgets and to protect himself, because I think he realizes with so much dangerous going on, he'll need to.
You know what? I just thought of something about how to get Pike into the story.
God damn it.
You do a side 1-episode Christmas special where Pike has a list, he checks it twice, finds out who's naughty or nice. He's just in a Santa hat.
He's just gonna say all the captain. Oh my god, all the captains naughty. Everyone else fine. He just hates captains.
I would enjoy a holiday special just in the world of this, where there's a war going on and they take a ceasefire.
Why don't we have a Christmas Pike skin? Whatever.
Oh, it would be. Do they really not have a Santa skin for
don't.
Pike? That's such a good idea. Hire me. I almost said Blizzard. Not Activision. What is it? Riot Games.
Don't
I
worry.
actually love you. You're not my third choice in my mind.
They both have both have some pretty iffy allegations against them.
That's probably why I mixed them up. It's fine.
But
yeah, nothing for season 2 for me really. Straight up, I just hope it's good because I think it's gonna be a faster turnaround. I hope we develop everyone a little bit more. I think please be a war eventually.
This feels like season 2
expected it for so long.
Season 2
definitely. I feel like season 2, like, I felt like that for the past 2 acts, though. I don't trust my intuition anymore.
I trust mine. I didn't feel like those acts would, like, necessarily end in war. It felt like the majority of it would be a struggle to stop a war. And, like, it feels like now the death of the council that is the spark that ignites a war. There weren't a ton of things that were, like, a spark to ignite a war. There was, like, sparks to be, like, wary. But there was nothing to be like, this is the turning moment that a war has started. They straight up killed the political head of Piltover. That will start a war.
I thought it was going to be the bridge scene, honestly. I thought that was what was going to kick it off.
That felt more like rising tensions to me.
Look at you and your literary devices. When you go off.
I read a book once.
I don't know. It just difference of opinion. But is there anything in season 2 that I am forgetting that we haven't talked about? Like, that anyone who already exists that we haven't covered? Caitlyn, I guess. But, like, what the fuck is Caitlyn going to do?
Well, she's going to chase after Jinx. And she's going to struggle with... what is my relationship with Vi? Do I repair it? Do we work together? Do we not? Do I block her up?
Caitlyn Vi makeout scene.
I'll say that's a coin toss whether that happens.
Not in a perverse way. I gotta clarify that.
Yeah, like a romantic way.
Give me a kiss. Well, I want the lesbians to be happy.
I think it would be like good for them to address each, like, internally. Like, I don't think they themselves understand what they want from each other and what their relationship is. I think their emotions are a lot more complex than that. And, like, a kiss scene would solidify, this is what you mean to me. This is our relationship. This is how I see
I'm talking by the end of season 2.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm
rush
saying.
it.
That's what I'm saying.
Give me the
kiss. It's a show that solidifies their relationship and where they're at. And I think I really liked how season 1 it was so mysterious, because if they just made a decision, it's like, all right, this is our relationship. But they don't know. They don't know what they mean to each other. They're exploring what they mean to each other. Are they partners? Are they partners in, like, an investigation? More than that? I really like their relationship. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's good. I think I just want a very definitive, like, end for season 2, because we got, like, the cliffhanger season 1. I just want there to be not a definitive end to the show, but just, like, a definitive cutoff point for season 2, where it's just like things have resolved, it can pick back up, but I want, like, a conclusion of some kind.
The problem with that is it leads to a game where these characters don't have concluded stories, where it's like Jinx is still alive and around, not behind bars. Vi and Caitlyn work together.
But is League of Legends canon in any way?
They're not killing characters
other than it just being like a MOBA.
They're not. It seems like they're keeping the continuity of these characters are free to do what they do, and they're not dead, because they're not killing off any named characters. And I guess
they are not.
I guess it could be presumed. Jinx broke out, but I don't think they're gonna lock her behind bars. I feel like they may lock her behind bars, like, but then season 2 ends with, like, not an after credit scene, but, like, this final scene of, like, it cuts to her.
A hole in the wall.
A hole in the wall. Like, she's escaped.
Yeah. I didn't know, like, is the League of Legends thing that, like, the characters have to be alive?
I don't know.
I feel like in the canon you could have a dead character.
We can only presume.
I feel like they should break the canon a little bit for the sake of just telling a complete story in some way. Not like a chapter end, not necessarily a end, right?
Yeah, I would like it if like, they locked her away, but then she blew up and escaped. And, like, that's fine. The end. Yeah. That would be fine.
then it's like there's more adventures to be had, but it's like we had like a conclusion to Jinx's arc of retribution and all that.
Yeah. So, anything else
I'm
you
gonna
have to
miss
say?
this show. When is season 2 coming out? Like I missed this show
not
already.
announced.
When is it coming out?
Just that it's in production.
Okay.
I say maybe
So-
2 years.
I'm gonna say at earliest 2023, if not like 2024.
I'd say 24 sounds about accurate to me.
It's so long.
Well, get
We're
used to
doing
it.
this again.
We're doing it again.
Are we doing this again in when it comes out in 2024?
Well, hopefully we'll still be
Can
at
we
this.
pinky promise on that on camera?
Um,
Can we smooch on camera to seal the deal?
I'll leave that to the viewer's imagination.
All right. If you've stuck around for this long, it's like fucking 7 hours at this point or something.
Yeah, thanks for staying. Be sure to check out our.
Thank you so much.
Be sure to check out our Discord, as well as I'll be putting Wells's channel in my description.
Yeah, I'll put Nick's in mine as well. In our Discord, we have links to everything, like our Twitches, our other social media stuff. So
highly
wanna
recommend
find us,
checking
see what
out
we
the
do.
Discord. I write some reviews there that's exclusive to the Discord occasionally. I need to get more on that, but
just our announcements are there. It's like the hub for everything.
everything Pants and Nick. That's the server.
If you just want to, Pants and Nick, or just whatever. Really cool of you to stick around for this long.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Bye.
We love you. I'm gonna kiss you.
Don't do that. Okay, bye.
I'm gonna do it.